Welcome to the St. Louis Park Rec Center and tonight's North Suburban Conference Boys Hockey game, a battle of the birds, as the Hawks out of Robbinsdale Cooper fly the nest and make their way down Highway 169 to take on our Orioles. I'm John Fromm along with John Basil, coach for St. Louis Park, and Danny Bissonette, a tireless, fearless leader. Looking forward to the game, you guys. Neither team's got a win yet in the conference, but should be a hard-fought, even game.
Absolutely. I think, you look at the Orioles coming out. They've obviously had a few wins this year. They're looking to get their first conference win tonight. You look at the JV game. Frommer, I got to mention Max Miller started in the nets for them, and his first start for a high school team, and did a nice job. And the JV team, St. Louis Park Orioles, came out with a win, and he only gave up 1 goal. So it was nice to see Maxie get between the pipes. And
I immediately, when I got here, I thought of last season too, when last year it's kind of a different same scenario for junior varsity goaltending last year, because the backup last year, who's the main goalie this year, didn't get to play much at all, and Benny Burke has now played most of the games, and he practiced last year, so that's a great highlight.
Absolutely is.
There you see this. We got youth and beauty. We got some beauty, and we got some age and gray hair here. So Dan Bissonette, John Basil, John Fromm here. Really a lot of storylines for the game tonight. Both teams have had a really difficult time putting the puck in the net in conference games as well as overall. Cooper has scored 55 goals on the year, but almost 35 of them came during their holiday tournament when they took Ely out to the Woodshed Bad and Moose Lake. So, and Orioles shut out on Monday and Tuesday. So, but a lot more shots on goal, as you and I discussed last night. Getting a lot more stuff from the point recently from Noah Fortmeyer and.
There's the flag bearer from our Mite program, Philip Hurdy, out there making a lap. With the squad. It's good to see him out there. He's doing a wonderful job.
Nice forward lean, too. He's got the forward lean going and got that stick held high with pride. Bissy, wouldn't that have been great if you got called on that? I mean, seriously, that'd be like the highlight for youth hockey. Are we going to have any youth hockey scrimmages during any of the intermissions bases?
Yeah, actually, today, right after the first, the Mite program's going to be playing, and we got great numbers at the Mite level, so it's nice to see.
And I'm glad Danny's up here today, too, because him, as a coach for the Pee Wee 8 program, they've had a lot of success, and Baze's son, Willie, is on that team as well, and so some good numbers at that level, too.
Yeah, we've been having a real good year. It's been fun to watch, fun to be on the bench, or fun to be a part of the team for PWA season.
Here you see the starting goaltender for the Hawks today. That's sophomore Angel Hillstrom in net. She started 21 games last year for the Hawks. Sports a .781 save percentage. And there you see Greg Nightingale, a junior defenseman. He's probably their best overall defender back there, joined by Captain Dylan Erickson, a senior, one of only 2 seniors playing for the Hawks tonight. Alex Stager, number 13, the right winger. He had a good freshman year for them last year and has punched 9 goals in already this year. And then you got Nawan Norka, my completely biased, but my son's best friend.
Oh, nice.
Senior for them. And then Trey Rooney, Bill Rooney's son, the head coach. Trey, one of the leading scorers in the state as a 9th grader. He's got 10 goals and 17 assists on the year.
Yeah, he can play not only football, but he can play hockey.
Yeah, and there's a special start tonight, as he's had a great senior season for that man. Eric Spiker, number 1, gets the call in the net tonight. And he's joined by one of the sophomores. St. Louis Park is one of the youngest teams you'll see around the state. And you see TJ Rempfer out there with senior Frank Jermusik, a blue liner. Little youth serve there with some seniority. And Jake Lucas Savage, a junior winger who leads the Orioles with 9 goals. And the other winger on that line with the hair slicked back, number 2, TJ Halfin.
Yeah, it kind of looks like Willie Plett from the 70s.
And there you see, I believe that was Miles Malarkey, wasn't it? Okay.
Yes, Miles, number 13, yep.
Little change, all right. So we're gonna have the anthem, and stick with us here on Park 16 and buckle up and call your friends and enjoy some hockey. a stirring rendition of the national anthem. Not brought to you by the Park Band tonight, but some of the best tape music you'll find in any of the arenas around, I think, John.
Yeah, that was very well done. I'll tell you, though, when the Park Band's here, you get a whole nother level of excitement. We miss them when they're not here. You know, as the Orioles get ready to take this Cooper squad on, I had the privilege of coaching Angel, the goalie for the Cooper, and you know, years ago Edina had a girl goalie and Cooper's had a girl goalie, and Angel's a battler. You know, I had her on the 12A squad with my daughters, and she certainly doesn't like to get scored on, and when you got that passion, it takes you to another level. So she's going to see, I think, a lot of rubber tonight from the boys. They're going to shoot hard. They've been, you know, the Orioles, you talked about them getting more shots on net. They still got to be able to finish, and that's probably the biggest thing that they're going to be challenged with tonight is when they get their shots, following the net hard and making them count. And on the other end, as you said, he hasn't seen a lot of action this year, but he's Spiker started in the nets.
Really well.
He's played well every time he's been called on. He's big, tall, solid goal. He likes to square up. His keys for him tonight is, of course, controlling the rebounds and noticing when the boys are tired to get a change.
And he's such an athletic goaltender with his 6'5", you know, 190-pound frame, and a really good lacrosse player for the Orioles as well. And his dad, what can you say about Mitch? All the hundreds and hundreds of hours of service that he's given to the youth program.
Yeah, you know, he managed, you know, not only on the board, but managed the pull tab operation for years, and you know, that's a big fun revenue for hockey. And Cooper's out to an early start here, pressuring hard.
First lines going up against each other here as the Norca line out there with Trey Rooney and a little slippage in fall there. And this is Stager on the pursuit for Cooper, and Jermusik able to gain control momentarily and push it out to center ice. And we are going to have a quick whistle at the 16:34 mark as both teams will switch and go. So Bill Rooney, a longtime high school veteran, high school hockey coach for Cooper, I believe in his 18th season out of Mankato, and Sean Rooney, skipper in the Orioles in year 2 here with a really veteran staff around him in terms of experience and knowledge on the sport. So, and what a young team both of these teams have. Cooper's only skating Erickson and Norca as seniors on the whole roster, and here's Curtis Greenbush on a breakaway going left to right, and he finishes high there at the 16-17 mark. Curtis Greenbush with a great drive, and he's been snake, but he's been one of those guys that's been firing and battling and screening shots, and nice to see Greeny pop one in there.
It sure was, and I tell you, you give him credit for being very patient. Angel came out, squared up really nice against him. Yeah. He just gave a little dip of the shoulder, was patient, held that puck, made the goalie make the first move and put it home.
Yeah, and Kurt's got a lot of speed, and that first unit for Cooper will really have to try to match up with this first unit for the Orioles, the 7-9-11 line. Because this is a line, the 7-9-11 line we talked about. When you get Hames, Owens out there with Kurt, those three guys have the vertical speed, and Cooper's going to have to match that line, I think, today.
Right, right.
A couple of noteworthy people stopping by, and Bob Bear and Tom Rempher, a couple of the VIPs with the St. Louis Park delegation. We're back, 16:09 to go here in the first period. Orioles up 1-0. And it goes behind the Oriole net, and that's
23.
There's Trey Rooney, the 9th grade phenom with 10 goals on the year. He's a big asset to their program, who not only is the coach's son, but he's had a rink in his backyard for years and years and years. So great baseball player for their program as well. So they're going to, that first unit for the Hawks, I think, is probably going to be out there 50% of the time. So
yeah, they play a shortened bench, no doubt about it. You know, the one thing you were talking about is the goaltending earlier. East Spiker doing multiple activities, of course. Frommer with the baseball and hockey. I mean, you know, I'm a little biased towards the goalies, but they tend to be very good athletes.
And look at Ryan Nichols last year with how he played soccer in college.
Yeah,
right.
It's, you know, the goaltenders oftentimes are the best athletes on the team.
And you've got. You know, I certainly want to agree with that, and you certainly do from your days at Edina and Point and Madison. But and you got a nice one in the pipeline next year too, we should say. Besides the great job Benny Burke's done this year, and Duncan McIntyre will be back, but Connor Clare's, shout out to him on the Bantam A team for how he's done and his accolades.
Yeah, and I think Bissy, you know, he's been involved in the youth here, and Bissy, you've seen this. the crop coming up in Bantams, and of course the Pee Wee team. And you know, there's some bright years ahead for this park program with some real depth coming.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see how Connor will do. I think he'll do an excellent job next year. Last year, when I was coaching this fall league, he came up and played as an 8th grader and got a win on the varsity fall league as an 8th grader. So
wow, that's something. So this is Hayden Gauci for the Hawks, helped down there by Joe Huber, and the Orioles will regroup behind their own net and go high off the far dasher. That's Justin Rignier for the Hawks, the junior defenseman who corrals it at center ice and whacks it off the near wall. St. Louis Park out there with the Murray line, TJ Halfin and Miles Malarkey out there. TJ's put some biscuits in the basket this year for the Orioles as well. I know he donned the number 3 sweater the other night because the number 2 was left in the locker room, but it's good to see him back with that number 2 on tonight. I'm sure Dad appreciates that.
It sure is. Well, and I tell you, you know, TJ, when he really gets going and he's got that gear where he gets his work ethic going, can be a force out here. And, you know, he's doing wonderful this year, and he's going to continue to work hard, and he'll have a couple good years here playing for Park.
So Eagle corral that as the Riley cast line is out there. As you see Nick Larson out there with him as well. Nathan Linderholm and Rainier on the points for them. St. Louis Park's got the Luca Savage unit out there. 14:43 remaining in period 1. Just underway here if you're just joining us on Channel 16. Charlie Hills with a nice job pushing it up the far wall, where Luca Savage is able to add that long reach and give it up to Halfin. Halfin near side gains possession in the zone. Here's Luca Savage with a 360 move, spin bomb, goes to the right wing, wrist shot, and that top shelf, and we've seen him firing and firing and firing, and I don't think anybody could have seen that shot at all because that was in the back of the net in record time. So Jake Luca Savage gets the puck back from TJ Halfin, and I believe we're going to have a Luca Savage from Halfin at the 14:26 mark.
Yeah, and I think the D, they may get a second assist to the D who moved the puck up. It was a breakout that really was nice to see because we moved it up. Got a breakout where the wing comes over off the glass, picked it right up, moved it back to the center. Exactly, you know, you practice a lot of things. They executed that exactly the way it was drawn up.
Right, exactly. Well, and that was a really nice headman pass as Charlie Hills went far wall all the way behind his own net, and then Luca corralled it, as you mentioned, got it up to TJ and back. So Hills will get the second assist on that one.
Yep.
That was a perfect play by Luca. Faked like he was going up to the D and then jumped in the slot. That's exactly where you want to be and want to get your scoring chances right there. That's what we try to get our young kids to do. Step in the slot, try to open up that middle of that ice, and that's your best scoring angles come from that position right there. It's a nice play by Luca.
Rooney line able to get the puck in for a little bit of pressure there, but it's broken out this time by Hames and Owens. The young guns only in 9th and 10th grade for Park, and there's Noah Fortmeier able to corral it in his own zone and move it on the near side here up to the Finnish Flash Jesper. Taken away momentarily and shot down by Linderholm. Spiker will corral it behind his own net, work it up to Joey Kramer on the far wall. Kramer battling with Gauci over there. Able to momentarily break it out of the zone, and a hard check laid up by Joey Kramer. Didn't catch the number of that Hawk player, but somebody might have a bruise coming. Nice backhand sequence that time, and Eric Spiker does a nice job holding his angle and fort there. And I believe that was number 14, Hayden Gauci, with a shot on goal that time. Yeah, take a look here.
There's 2 players to watch as far as the physical game as you go. That was a Joey Kramer big hit from the Orioles. On the Cooper side, from the Hawks side, you got number 13 that likes to hit.
Alex Stager, yeah.
Yep.
Only a sophomore, but he's really very fast too. Break out to Jesse Knutson, who catches it on the wing. Knutson, high wrister and a beautiful high blocker save by Angel over to corral it inside. And here's Danny Murray looking for his first one of the year and a wrist shot. Nice job as well as he gets that low pad down there on the left side. Gauci up the far wall, pushes it ahead. Hayden Gauci, the junior, battling down low and some contact, and Gauci loses his stick momentarily in the corner, but a nice job that time by number 4 of the Orioles, able to corral that puck and move it out.
Comes Jesse Knutson again, who did, again, we executed the breakout perfectly up quickly. We just got to move it to the center as we come down.
And we should mention too, St. Louis Park, this is their 4th game in, I believe, 6 days, because they played Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, and we're Thursday. So we're in a stretch where the Orioles have got a lot of game time and played some good competition with Rogers the other night, and Totino ranked 3rd in the state the other night too. So,
and they come back with they come back on Saturday again. So there's it's a very busy time. They're playing multiple games every week.
Yes,
which is keeping them flying. And of course, you know, that top-ranked Totino, they did very well.
Yeah.
You know, of course, big part of that was your son Frommer in the nets. He had the heck of a game from all the coach and staff that was there. They said, "Wow, what, just stood on his head." So,
well, let me give you some money at the end of the intermission, John.
Hey, I just report the facts. I just report the facts.
All right. Well, your services are for hire for publicity if you parents need representation out there for your students. We're at the 11:21 mark, and St. Louis Park going to get whistled possibly here for an icing call, and just out of this reach for Jake Lucasavage. St. Louis Park, as we mentioned, comes into the game with a 3-13-1 record. They have had a lot of low-scoring competitive games, though. If you were to say, guys, that, you know, the Orioles' record is that, and you'd maybe think that there was a lot of blowouts in the case. Not the case. The other night it was 1-0 after 2. On Monday it was as well. You know, a lot of, you know, lower-scoring games, and with some of the players that transferred out of the program that had some offensive skill, you're playing a style that has to be a little more conservative and a more stay-at-home approach.
Yep. No, that's right. You know, we've had all the tight games. We've really done well from the goaltending's been great. The defense have played very steady, and we've had shots. You know, we've just had trouble finishing the plays by putting the puck in the back of the net. So you're absolutely right, Farmer. Every game has been a competitive game, and you really don't know what's going to happen in the third, and we just got to be able to bury the puck a little better when we get our opportunities. Well,
and those are the kind of games, Danny, you know, as we get towards the end of the season, that you're going to have to play a low-scoring brand anyway as you get into the playoffs. Possible chance down low for the Orioles with that 7-9-11 line as Nicky Hames momentarily checked off the puck. And Jermusik, the senior blue liner, will regroup in his own zone and push on the near wall up to Greenbush. Greenbush's cross-ice pass is able to go through, and Kramer, looking like he's digging for some gold there, is able to shovel that thing into the offensive zone for Park and get the change. Here's Erickson up the far wall to Huber. Nice touch pass back by Nick Larson over to Gauchi. Gauchi attempts to fire one on net, but Noah Fortmeyer, as he does so often, able to play a good brand of D and help turn that aside. And we should mention a little point of interest on this game. There's we've got a Finnish exchange student for Park, and I found out that Cooper's got a Swedish exchange student that's new to hockey in their program. So perhaps if we had a Norwegian, we could have a Scandinavian tournament. So all right, 9:16 to go here in period 1 as Charlie Hill's able to hold it in. Jake Bear with a nice wrister down low, and nice kick to the side by Angel as she's able to push it. Renier behind his own net, checked off the puck beautifully that time by Joey Kramer, the junior winger who has been playing defense but back to his natural wing position recently, John.
Yeah. You know, Joey's you watch every time he forechecks, he's going to finish his check. And he can be a threat up there just because he can cause havoc in that offensive zone.
Right. Nice win behind the net by Jake Bear, and he pushes it out front. And, a back check by Kramer, or excuse me, a redirect by Kramer goes a little wide. Jesper with that long reach, battling Derek Neiman on the far wall and Nathan Linderholm. Hawks also using Riley Cass out there. He's a freshman, 24 for them. Over to Bear. Bear, the senior center. A nice, had time to shoot that, and Angel able to get a part of the pad on that and kick it aside. Bear again. Bear looking weak side. He's got somebody cross ice, and he's going that way, but nobody home as he tried to reach Noah Fortmeyer. Good idea that time. And although Jake Beer rattles it home, we had an offside whistle that was certainly the goalie's best friend on that occasion.
Yeah, and he probably had the time to hold up a little bit or cut across the middle, but he stepped over and took a big, I don't know if Angel knew it was offside.
Yes, right. So Rooney on the draw that time, and Danny Murray's stick goes about 20 feet in the air, and he'll have to re-grab that piece of graphite. Murray out there with Mitchell Hickerson, and here's Hickerson, number 4, with the puck. Pushes it down low, and a nice hold that time by Rempfer, who wins a battle on that far wall. pushed out this time, and Trey Rooney for the Hawks, the freshman, not able to convert, and Jermusik, nice job holding that in for Park. Norcup trying to push it out far wall. One of the larger players in the state at 6 feet, 220 pounds, but just came back to the Hawks in early December. So, all right, and that puck is going to miss Rooney's stick, and we're going to have an icing whistle. Danny, why don't you talk a little bit too about how things going with the Pee Wee A team? I know I'm a little biased, a lot biased maybe, but you're helping coach that, and John's son is on that, and things looking real competitive this year, I hear.
Yeah, no, we've been having. We started out real well. We had a few letdowns during the middle of the year, but we're going up to Eveleth tomorrow, and that's always good to go up north and see what your guys are made of. Playing northern style hockey. I think we got Hibbing on in the first round, which is a team that ended my hockey career. So
yes, in the state tournament.
Maybe to get a little redemption. It'll be the first time I coach / play against them again. So
boy, you're going to throw out that win one for the Gipper speech, aren't you? If you ever and a redirect on a hill shot from the point, just trickles wide that time.
No, yeah, but it's always fun to go up north. Those are the best tournaments you're gonna play in up there. Best competition usually too.
Here's Lucas Savage behind Hillstrom as he works up the near wall and does a nice job cycling the peck to Halfin in the corner. Halfin still cycling down low, gets it back to Hills, another junior at the point. A little wrister goes wide, and Halfin is able to run to the far side and corral that down. Nice cross-ice pass from Fort Meyer to Miles Malarkey, stolen away this time, and another goal that time. I believe that might be unassisted, and Jake Lukasavage's 11th goal of the season and second goal of the game is able to put Park ahead at the 6:17 mark.
Yeah, Luca's got one heck of a shot, and when he gets it upstairs underneath the pipe, it's very hard to stop.
And you can see here, Miles Malarkey going to get an assist on that because he checked that puck away, and a nice job by the junior Lucas Savage gets credit for his second of the game, and Miles Malarkey with his assist.
For a team that's struggling on scoring, it's nice to get out to a fast start here, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I don't know, Johnny, were you down in the locker room before the game, or what did Poets touch on before?
You know, the boys were ready to play. You know, you got to play within your system, use your teammates, play unselfish. You know, play in control. Don't take any penalties. So far, we've been very smart about that. So far, the boys are executing, especially on the breakout. They got tied up a little bit earlier, but now they've been executing that breakout absolutely perfectly. You know, we want to go to the center. If the center isn't open, certainly can go up and have the wings coming out quickly to center ice and move it across, and then move it down the board and move back to the center. And that movement causes a lot of problems. So the boys are doing well. They're executing very well.
Some nice dipsy doodle moves by Greenbush as the junior has it momentarily taken away by Neiman, who shoots it down low. That'll go wide of the net, and Erickson is able to hold it in momentarily for the Hawks at the 5:15 mark of period one. Nice lob pass, and Joey Kramer with some speed and a nice job able to redirect that on a backhand on net. Joey really...
They got a hook on Cooper.
They got a hook against Joey, so Joey's speed helped materialize a penalty that time. And speed is the ones, what did I hear my favorite line be in baseball, football, hockey? Speed is the one thing that never takes a night off.
Yeah, speed can kill you.
Speed
can kill you. And, you know, whether it's a game of hockey or a game of football, if you're wide, you got speed, and that can kill the other team. And Joey just had a straight ahead blast of speed and ended up resulting in a penalty.
So Lucas Savage out there with Hames, Hills, Fort Meyer, and Lucas Savage out there. And we'll see if the Orioles can expand on their 3-0 lead with 4:54 remaining in period one. Pushed in, but unfortunately out of control by the Orioles, and a nice piece of work by Rooney, able to shoot it all the way down for the Hawks. Spiker will hold it behind the net there and help start the offense going the other way. Back up to Lucas Savage, number 5, the junior, with a nice drop pass to Greenbush. Greenbush and Lucas Savage cycling in the near wall. Back out in the corner this time, back out to Fort Meyer. Fort Meyer, Lucas Savage, wrister, high blocker, save. Nicely turned aside by Hillstrom that time. Orioles with 2 forecheckers, and 4 players on that side of the ice are able to corral that, and back to the king of the snapshot. Fort Meyer over to Hills, and a nice piece of work by the Hawks defensively as looks like Hayden Gauchi able to get a stick on that and redirect it down for them. 1 minute remaining in the penalty, 4 minutes in the period. The Orioles will get a one player change in the defense. Lucas Savage down low in the corner again, trying to battle against Dylan Erickson. Back to the point. Malarkey over to Fortmeyer. Oh, and Fortmeyer nicely fakes the shot, gives it up to Luca. Goes off his stick, not able to get it in, and Malarkey cross ice this time. Oh, that time I believe you had was that Nicky Owens with a shot, and Halfin able to hold it in momentarily. And that puck is kicked up in the air, and just 20 seconds remain as the Orioles will keep the pressure on. And Frankie Jermusic looking for his first goal of the year has it go off, I believe, the post, and then Miles Malarkey is Mr. Johnny on the spot.
Yeah, picked it right up and fired it in. You know, the second power play unit here had very good movement. The first power play was pretty good. It was nice to see some improvement on that power play. We've certainly had our opportunities. There's good movement throughout both units.
If we can go back to that highlight again, you see Frank Jermusic up on the far wall. Just a quick snapper, and Angel no idea where it was coming with the screen, and I believe that was Miles Malarkey, yep, on the replay there. Yeah, Miles Malarkey, so he adds to his stat total and able to put one in. And for the Orioles, it's the fourth goal of the period already, and that'll put them up at the 3:25 mark. It was a power play goal, and Hickerson for the Orioles shoots it on the weak side.
That's what happens when you do your job on the power play right there. Johnny is in the right spot in his position, not trying to do too much.
Ooh, and take it away there. Jesse Knutson going to get sent to the sin bin here, possibly for a check from behind or a rough. I don't think there was any intent whatsoever in the play, but certainly the Hawk player crashed down hard and is able to come off in their own steam.
They gave him a 2 minute for cross check, which is probably the best scenario you could wish for coming out of there.
Yes, because he was fully turned, right, and there was some movement there. And nice to see Jesse go right to the box. None of this complaining, no voicing any displeasure. We don't need any of that. So.
No, and I tell you, that's one of the things that Coach Bodine expects from the players is a lot of discipline. He doesn't want the players talking to the refs. If there's a question, coach and staff will make that determination and talk to the refs. But
so Jermusic able to relieve pressure momentarily. The Hawks power play unit out there with, I believe that's Erickson, Stager, Norca, Nightingale, and Eric Spiker able to hold that behind his net. And ooh, Greg Nightingale momentarily loses control and able to hold it in. Nice check that time by Norca as he's able to lay the lumber on a Oriole player. Nightingale out to the point for Cooper. Nightingale over to Rooney. Rooney with a wrister. Nice pad save, steered to the corner that time by Eric. Nightingale back to the point. Rooney lines it up at a nice piece on the block. And Rooney is taken down, and Eric, it looks like Jake Lucas Savage with a possible breakaway. Nice piece of work by Dylan Erickson, and it's almost top shelf that time as Luca goes for the hat trick in the first period. Erickson on the far wall passes it up to Rooney. Rooney with a possible 3-on-1, but a nice job by Charlie Hills, able to use some strength and take him down. Reminder to stick with us at the end of the period as Danny Bissonette will have a special guest that he'll be interviewing. So 40 seconds remaining in the power play for Cooper. Malarkey. And that's Charlie Hills out there along with Malarkey, Halfin. Just 30 seconds remaining in the Hawk power play and 1:25 remaining in period one here. Nice stop and go move that time by Nathan Linderholm as he passes it up this time to Joe Huber. Huber over to Gauchi. Gauchi momentarily poke checked off his stick, and Malarkey able to win that war and push it out there. Here's Gauchi again, able to break it in, and that's just about going to do it here as he holds on to that at the 59-second mark and wisely takes a face-off, and the Knutson penalty is stopped.
Yeah, it was nice to see the boys kill that off. You know, they had a couple opportunities too, short-handed opportunities. Luca coming down. Curtis Greenbush almost picked one off from D to D that could have went for a breakaway, so it was a good aggressive kill.
Here's Noah Fortmeyer, the junior, behind his own net, unable to connect that time with Joey Kramer, who does a nice job checking out Justin Rainier for the Hawks on the far wall.
You're not going to see Joey Kramer not finish a check.
Yeah,
it's something he enjoys. It's part of the game that he enjoys, and he does it very well. We got a rough against Someone on the Orioles.
Yes. Going to be another penalty on St. Louis Park for roughing. I don't know if Kramer got whistled to that, if he got whistled for that. And yeah, Danny Bissonette, I do hear you, and we'll be able to have you on momentarily here. And that's Joey Kramer got that for the rough on the far wall, I guess, which I wasn't quite sure if that was a penalty or not, but you know, understandably.
Yeah, they're probably trying to keep a little bit control of the game with a 4-0 lead for the Orioles right here in the first. Try to keep it as clean as they can from the referee perspective.
Lucas Savage with a nice job pulling that puck back and shooting it all the way down with 30 seconds remaining in the first period. TJ Remper out there as well on the kill. And for the Hawks, you've got Rooney with speed up the near wall, takes it to the forehand. Lucas Savage tries to check that away, but Trey Rooney goes by 3 Orioles, front door, back door. And Jermusik able to finally corral him and pinch it up, but a nice, momentary hold by Linderholm is then shot out, and we got a hand pass called at center ice.
Yeah, you know, and as the Cooper player, Rooney rushed the puck, you know, he did a couple nice moves.
Oh, he did, yeah. But
he won a couple. Yeah, won a couple too many. They're on the power play. You got to get in there, set that up. But it was a nice rush. You make that first move, maybe a second at the best, and then set that puck up and look for a teammate.
Right, and then Trey has an advanced set of skills, and here's another young man, Nightingale, with some speed for them, but a nice piece of work at center ice as the Orioles able to check him off that puck. And that'll do it here for the first period at the Rec Center. As 4 first period goals by Curtis Greenbush and a pair by Jake Lucas-Savage. And then end of the period with a Miles Malarkey tally off of a nice shot by Frank Jermusik. We'll put the score at 4-0 after 1 here. And we'll try to we're going to momentarily have a guest with Danny Bissonette down there. But John, your overall thoughts as Danny prepares to line somebody up for an interview?
Yeah, I thought the Orioles came out. They played very good in the first period. They took advantage of their shots. They're very accurate with their shots. Probably the one thing that I noticed the most was that they made sure they hit the net.
All right, I think we're almost ready to go with Dan Bissonette. And Danny, take it away down there.
All right, guys, I'm down here with senior captain Ryan Fromm. Interesting point of view for Ryan here. He doesn't sit on the bench too often, starting senior goalie. Ryan, just wanted to get your point of view from the bench here. You guys are off to a 4-0 start. Best start you guys have had all year. What do you see from the bench?
Well, I see we're moving the puck really well, and we're doing all the little things, getting it deep, taking good shots. We're playing pretty well right now.
What do you see out of Eric Spiker, too, as his 4th start of the year? And obviously you're practicing with him all year. It's nice to see him to start out the period in a good way.
Well, he's looking good right now. He's made a couple of pretty key saves so far. Hasn't been tested a lot, but good saves so far.
All right, well, we'll let you go into the locker room, but St. Louis Park 4-0 after the first period. Back up to you, John.
Thank you very much, Dan, and thank you, Frommer. Frommer, as you mentioned, is watching in a spot he's normally not used to from the bench, but I think he was right on with what he saw. The boys played well that first period and looked pretty good.
And whatever he said, I hope I approved. You
approved 100%. So here we'll switch over. Maybe we can get the camera over in the press box here, and we got Dr. Andy Stewart here from West End Chiropractic. Good to be here. Thanks for coming up. You've been nice enough to volunteer your time this year with the boys varsity team. And tell us a little bit about what you've been doing with the boys, a little bit about your philosophy and why you're even interested in volunteering time with the boys.
Yeah, you know, I'm a Rochester guy like Coach Podine, so I grew up playing hockey, doing a lot of hockey my whole life. And when I went to the University of Minnesota, I got heavily involved with injuries in sports, specifically concussions. So opened up a practice here in St. Louis Park about a year ago over at West End Chiropractic, or kind of by the shops at West End. And been working with the guys, you know, treating a lot of injuries, ailments that they have on a regular basis, and also kind of working with guys post-injury in my office as well. So it's been fun. I've enjoyed getting to know the guys, and I've had a really good time so far this year.
You know, you've been in the locker room periodically. There's probably nothing worse when a player comes off and they do have an injury or an ailment, but how's the general attitude been in the locker room?
Guys have been great. I've had a blast. You know, I played varsity hockey and miss going back to those days playing.
Yes.
It's been fun being in the locker room for me. I've had a great time this year.
And, you know, we've talked about this before. Park's got a great setup in terms of structurally for a locker room and some space in the back. which, gosh, 90% of the schools in the state probably don't have that, in case you needed to bring in a chiropractor board or some type of a training table to full-time have access in the future as the program hopefully grows.
Yep, it's been great. You know, I had an opportunity to bring in some equipment, some tables, set it up in the back room. I've got plenty of space, so as soon as practice is over, I've been able to work pretty easy with the guys, so I've had a great time.
Now, if parents are interested, are your services available, you know, pre-game or post-game in the locker room? Is that something as a fundraiser we should be looking at? Because we do have some bad backs with the parents sitting on these bleachers.
I'm sure it's a little cold on some of these bleachers. I don't know if that's HIPAA compliant, if I can take it there. But if parents are looking, you know, like I said, we're located in the shops at West End, and we treat all kinds of injuries. I've got massage therapists, acupuncturists, pretty diverse medical staff. So. Yeah.
But you did think of a good idea. We may have to hit you up for the summer golf outing, or maybe a little fundraiser where we get some free massages and we auction them off to raise a little money for the team.
I like it. I like that. It's a great idea.
And some great exposure for West End Chiropractic as well. And I've seen your offices, and I know where you're at, and it's it's a nice new practice you have going there.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I was just going to say too, I had a lot of use for a lot of chiropractic services in the mid-90s before I had some minor. I ended up having to have some minor reconstructive a laminectomy on my back position. But I was going to say, I think we got the perfect area right here for you. For you, intermission. I don't know. Like at the Saints game, they got that Sister Rosalind, and all she does is do those massages.
I don't know if I'm as talented as her, so I don't want to jump the gun on that one.
Yeah, right, exactly. You diversify your product line here at the game.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, you know, Dr. Andy, I gotta thank you, because, you know, when I've been around, you know, this program is really, you know, Frommer talked about the locker room and what we've got going there. You know, you've got a beautiful locker room for a high school. You've got showers contained within. You got a training area.
Beautiful coach's room now.
Yeah, a nice little kitchen area for the boys as well. You see them sitting around after having some peanut butter sandwiches, some TVs. But it's really the St. Louis Park High School hockey program's really been running like a first class. And when we get guys like you that are willing to volunteer, come in, talk to the boys about exercises, strengthening, core. When they do get injured, giving them some advice along with our trainer. It's just wonderful to have. It really helps the boys know that they're appreciated for playing this program, and this program is a first class program.
And I didn't know about your services till just John had told me the other day. That shows how in the know I am with a son as a goalie, right? Yeah. but you know, one of the things I've always worried about as a goalie parent, with the different modifications, with a lot of goalies playing butterfly style and so much joint pressure on the hips, on the sliding and whatnot. I've really always been concerned about, you know, what's going to happen long term as a goalie parent, as well as you grow and with those bones and
that's
muscles.
A great thing to bring up. You know, a lot of people think chiropractic, they think pain, but a lot of my patients across the Twin Cities and all over, whether it's a hockey player, a golfer, or an average Joe, besides pain, we work on biomechanics or postural stuff. And it's getting your body to perform optimally. And that's one of the things, and with all the different techniques, especially as a goalie, it's important to make sure those hips are moving correctly, the right patterns, glutes, low back, all of that. Yeah, so that's something we work on and look at, and that's a big deal. It really is.
That's great. Well, and I want to encourage you to take advantage of, I don't know if you have any business cards that people can, or a phone number we could give out on your behalf, but we'd certainly love to do that and present that at the end of the game too.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Absolutely. Like I said, our office is right in the shops at West End. We're right over there off 10394, so now pretty easy to get to.
And you're close to the Discover St. Louis Park.
We are.
Yes. Well, and you know, there's been, you know, I'm sure there's on occasion some wild behavior going on in those offices, but just kidding. John works for Discover St. Louis Park. So.
I think this is a PG program, so I can't take it too much farther than that.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you know, we're doing so much heavy lifting, I better go to the chiropractor. No.
Either that or it's getting so thick here.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
With me, right, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to, thank you, Andy, and you want to give a shout out to your buddy as well?
The other doctor that's on staff is here with me tonight. You know, he's a little TV shy, a little radio shy, so we'll let him sit in the background. But yeah, it's actually his first varsity hockey game.
Oh, really?
He's a basketball guy, so I dragged him out here tonight to check out some hockey, and it's been a good game for him to be at. So.
Yeah, I hate to say this, if it was his first game, I don't know if he skated, he would have been a natural maybe on that Mike game out there. We could have slapped those.
I'll let him know that.
Right. Some double runners on and see if he could stand up. That might have been
That would have been good. I would have enjoyed seeing that. Absolutely.
Well, we're going to just stick with you. There's only a couple minutes remaining in break. Anything else going on relating to the overall fitness level of the team? We didn't talk about this, but in working with, let's talk a little bit about Sean and Kevin.
Ziegler.
Kevin Ziegler.
Yep.
And have you had any dealings or conversations with Kevin?
A majority of what I've been focusing on has been injury and the biomechanical stuff. They've got a trainer. I'll work with the guys based on my exercise background and giving them the right protocol for injuries. But I kind of stay away from that avenue.
Yeah. So. Well, and I'd like at some point. I know we're on air, but I've got a son who's a baseball pitcher, and I often worry about when he was very young. One year, I never let him throw curveballs or any of that. Yep. But one year, as he was growing with a huge growth spurt, he had some real shoulder tenderness, and I worry about a lot of those things too.
It's huge. I see it in my office every day. Kids coming in that have developed abnormal gait that results in low back pain. Repetitive stressors like throwing a baseball that's over time added to elbow and shoulder injuries. And it's something we really focus on, is taking it not only a chiropractic standpoint, a physical therapy standpoint. We do a lot of different physiotherapies that are kind of cutting edge that really makes a difference in getting people out of pain and performing the way they need to perform. So,
well, Frommer brought up Kevin Ziegler, and that's another part of our program that just for these boys, the coaching staff they have around them and the support staff, from Dr. Andy to Julie, the trainer, to Kevin Ziegler, who helps with nutrition with the boys and what to eat, and you got we got Coach Stewart, who is a heck of a person on power skating and sees the game very well and really understands the game. So it's really nice to see these boys being surrounded by some great people and some high-level people, and it's great for the St. Louis Park program.
Absolutely.
And one thing that always, as a hockey player years ago, but also as a parent all these years, I know, like, when you get into the high school level for hockey and you've got 51-minute games and 17-minute periods, I've always worried. I know I asked my son a lot of times, I said, what do we got in the locker room for in between periods? I said, do we got, how are we doing with, tangerines? Do we have any, granola bars, etc.? Because I think a lot of times that parents forget about that, but when you're playing school sports and there's break intermission times, it's not always commonplace, by no means, for the coaches or to necessarily have snacks, but to keep your energy level up during competition too. And
nutrition is a huge part of it, no questions asked. And I've been excited just since joining the team this year to see all the components Sean's put together with the team and the different people. And like John said here, it's a lot of high-level guys that St. Louis Park has on board. So moving forward, I'm very excited for the program.
Yeah,
very excited.
Well, I don't know, Paul, if you've got a wide-angle view, if you can show a view of the mites out on the ice, but we've just had a wonderful mite experience out there as the, I don't know if Team Purple got the win over Team Red, but I don't think anybody matters whatsoever.
No, but it is very nice to see the mite program out here, and the mite numbers are good. We were talking a little bit with Bissy earlier. We've got good numbers at the mites. We've got good numbers at the Pee-wees. And we were talking about that Pee-wee team. They're ranked number 9 in state, and that's the first team that's come up that came out of the merger years and went back on their own. And to see that team come up and have the numbers that we have and be ranked in the top 10 in the state again, it's been some time for Park to see us ranked up there. So it's showing that the boys are there, and when they work hard and they play with their buddies and they play with the buddies at the park, they can have some success.
Well, and I told you last night that Bays and I were talking, and the new baseball coach at St. Louis Park, Jim Nunn, was at Minnetonka for years and years as a wrestling and head baseball coach, and he's really excited, and he's got a son at Edina in 7th grade who's 5'10", 150, who plays baseball and hockey, not quite an A-level hockey player, and he's like, for sure my son's coming over to Park and open and roll, and we're not going to necessarily sell our house, but we're right off 100, and the school's quite a bit smaller than Edina, and I don't want to spend $10,000 a year sending my kid to summer hockey programs necessarily. And so, there's a lot of opportunity for parents listening to the games out here where I was going to say, for parents listening to the games out there, where if they do want to open and enroll their kid or find out about that as an option too, they can.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you look at, and you being from Rochester, which was a smaller program, one of the things we've seen is people transfer into Park. We've got We've talked earlier about Frank Jamusek coming in from a private school. Frommer's talking about a guy from Edina coming in for baseball. You know, people are kind of finding that it's a nice hidden gem in St. Louis Park, where
Absolutely.
you've got a lot of good school district. You've got besides the good school district, you've got some good sport programs with some excellent facilities like this rec center, which makes it a great place for people to come attend school and play. So it's nice to see people transfer in.
Yeah, it's exciting. Like I said, I've been very excited. I've had a great time working with the kids, and I think moving forward, nothing but good things for this program. No questions asked.
Yep.
So.
Well, Dr. Andy, I appreciate you. Why don't you give your website out to the people watching and watch us on rebroadcast?
Yeah, nice to meet you again, Dr. Andy. What's your last name instead of Dr. Andy? That kind of sounds like Dr. Phil. What's your last name again?
Schwert, S-C-H-W-E-R-T, Schwert.
Okay,
Strong
Dr.
German
Andy,
name.
it'll be.
That's why I go that route. It's a little easier for my patients to say.
Right.
Doctor.
Yeah, West End Chiropractic. Our office number is 952-500-8477, and you can find us online at westendchiromn as in Minnesota.com.
westendchiromn.com.
And,
and if you mention John Basil's name and that
Big
you
deal.
heard this interview tonight,
Big deal.
They'll charge you more, and they probably won't do as good of a job.
We don't know if we'll let you in.
Complimentary ice water.
Complimentary ice water, right.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks again for volunteering your time with the team.
Absolutely, really enjoyed
Much
it.
appreciated.
Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
All right.
And just wanted to let you know, as we were talking about some of the changes in the Oriole program,
Thank you.
there's some really exciting news, Paul. If you can go to the local shot here, things are really changing under the Podine era, but there's a lot of older things that are being incorporated into the program as well. And these are some of the training tools that Sean has been utilizing with the cold spell. The kids are outside a lot now, and we've got some nice activities going on, and you can see that some of the goaltending practice, the goalies are not required to wear the helmets anymore. And we want to keep things fun and play a lot of pickup hockey.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
There's nothing wrong. This is a great picture. I had to throw a shout out. This was given to me, as you can see at the bottom. It says St. Louis Park High School 1940 practice. Well, Park didn't have a high school team till 46, so I'm thinking that this came from a former announcer who joined me in the stands up here, and he had the nerve to do that. But I thought I had to share that with you because it looks like they've got orange and black stripes on their.
That is beautiful. Well,
Bays, I don't know if Coach Eichla had you guys outside at Lake of the Isles or Lake Cornelia or one of those lakes. But
you know what's interesting though about outdoor ice, Farmer, and I'll tell you is no matter what coaches think they can do with players, there's not a better coach than the outdoor ice. And I know coaches don't like to hear that because they like to think but the bottom line is when a kid goes with his friends to an outdoor rink and spends 6 hours on a Saturday.
Right.
It's 6 hours of ice, 6 hours of learning where to go, learning the triangle naturally without people telling you. That's how you get the best players, the players that go on to play college hockey, the players that go on to the show are the ones that spend a ton of time at the outdoor rink just playing the game naturally and
it
learning
doesn't cost a dime.
It doesn't cost a dime. It's free ice. And you know what? Our, I always get a kick because you can see that the coaches like Sean Bodine and coaches that have been around a while. They fully get that. It's the coaches that aren't seasoned think, well, I'd rather have my kid indoor ice where I've got them structured and I'm teaching them. No, you know what? If you got great outdoor ice and your team says, you know what, coach, we don't want to use our hour indoor. We want to go skate 6 hours outdoor. Send them outdoor for the 6 hours because they're going to learn a hell of a lot more than they're going to learn from you on inside.
And even with different budget cuts over the year, there's still plenty of nice outdoor facilities, not only right in St. Louis Park with Nelson Park and Browndale Park, etc., but still some talk about potentially in the future maybe having an outdoor sheet attached to the rec center, and we'll see what happens there.
Well, a lot of communities have done it. Edina's done it down next to Minnesota Made, but it's not even Edina, it's Coon Rapids. Beautiful outdoor sheet right next.
Ice Forum.
Oh my gosh, yes. And you know what? It really brings the community out. And right now, the youth is they can't wait to go play at Coon Rapids, or they can't wait to go to play at some of these other facilities that have the outdoor sheet that is got refrigerated underneath. It basically looks like this sheet we're looking at today, but it's outside. And,
I know.
They keep it from November through March, and it's it's a great.
And because you don't have to, the utilities in terms of a lot of the HVAC costs, because it's outside, instead of paying $179 an hour for an hour of ice, even if it's municipally managed, you might be talking about $70 an hour.
Yeah, and quite an experience for the kids. And, everyone that's built one of the outdoor, they can't, they fill it up. You can't.
Oh, look at Mr. Malarkey.
Yes.
Immediately.
Yes.
And by the way, we should give a shout out to Steve about that.
Yeah.
He let the kids come down a couple weeks ago for that Friday practice, and they had a great time. And then I also wanted to give a shout out. Sean and I had a discussion a while back. Not many people really think about this, but Sean's been implementing a few practices before school recently. And I know with Park having 8:20 start times and Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but not till 8:40 on Tuesday, Thursday, I think that's just a phenomenal idea. Benilde used to practice before school when I was in high school, and secondly, otherwise Benilde gets the ice from 2:15 until 4:30 almost every day. Especially when the girls are going too, and so it'll be interesting to see. A lot of in that. If you do choose to do that, the kids have a lot of energy during the day, and then boom, they can do whatever they want right after school if they want to go play some open hockey or
right. And there's no, it's really nice of Shauna and the boys to have that before school practice. We're tight on ice right now at the rec center. And there's a few reasons for it. One, we've got multiple high school teams playing here, and two, our youth numbers are up, and so we've got more youth teams than we've had in the past. And you put all that combination together, and there's just not enough ice for all the youth teams right now here at this rec center. So that means you either have to go and buy it from other municipalities if it's available. But really, when the varsity moved before school, it opens up that night, the time at night for the youth, which
or even just to start at 4:30 as opposed to having to wait till 6:15.
Absolutely.
Because you got the varsity. We should mention you have a varsity and a JV practice for boys usually, not always, but usually. And I know, tomorrow there's no school. We should mention finals end of this week. I got nothing but thumbs up from my kids, which has got me feeling kind of nervous.
Well,
I don't know.
It never really.
Oh, it's just going great. And how about this line I get? I know we're just kind of ratting here. Oh, Dad, these two teachers just said, whatever I get on the final, if it improves my grade, great, and if I flunk it, I still get the grade I had going into the finals. And I don't know if you're listening out there, anybody in educator land, but that can't be right, can it?
Well, that means your son's been bringing a lot of apples to classes. I think that.
Wow, talk about no pressure.
We'll scare the baseball boys and pretend like they're on.
So
okay, that's fine. Yeah,
you are on Bissy.
That was one of my favorite lines of the last few days, though, and that was actually from my younger boy, Kyle. Now, can we briefly talk about? I know I ask you about this every time I talk to you. Talk a little bit about the girls, the high school team here, and talk a little bit about Elena and her slowly getting back.
Well, the team has been working really hard. I mean, they're out at Mound West Tonka tonight. They've got a game tonight. They had a game against Totino on Wednesday night. Actually Tuesday night. Sorry. Yep. And they played really hard. They lost 3-4. They've been playing hard. They've been in games. They've just been having trouble scoring. Yeah.
Kind of sounds very similar.
Very similar. You can see that they can play with teams, but you do need those players that can finish that and put the puck in the net. And the girls have they've been getting close. And there's certainly. I mean, we've got probably one of the most beautiful skaters in the conference in Molly Arnston.
Oh,
she can wheel, smooth. And she is she's coming down. She's walking the defense. She's doing a wonderful job of getting pressure to that net. So I'm proud of the girls. I'm proud of how hard they're working. They just continue to work. They're not losing. They're losing one senior goalie, and they're losing Megan, and they're losing Sophia. But they're not losing a tremendous amount of players. They're fairly young. So,
right, exactly.
Much like the boys.
Well, and I know we always seem to cover a lot of topics, but there's always a lot to talk about. And I was going to say, too, that for any of you people just watching this game live or replays, if you want to go out and watch a Pee Wee A game or a Pee Wee B1 game or just see some rec hockey, it's always free if you come. And I always tell people, just go on the youth hockey website. But, a lot of people don't know what the youth hockey website is. Yeah. Why don't we give that out, that email at or website.
The website, yeah. So you go to stlouisparkhockey.org and you'll get to the St. Louis Park Youth Association or Google St. Louis Park Hockey and the Youth Association comes right up, and go to the website. You can click on the Bantam A schedule, the Bantam B, the Bantam C. You can go to the Pee Wee A, the Pee Wee B, Pee Wee C, Squirts, Mite program. But you can certainly take in a game, and I'll tell you what, it is fun watching youth hockey from it. The kids are having fun. It's an exciting, fast-paced game. And so if you're bored this winter, check it out. See when they're at home at the rec center. Come on down to the rec center. It's a beautiful facility to be in. After you're done, walk up to Excelsior and Grand, grab a bite to eat at McCoy's or Qdoba, and away you go.
No, absolutely, some good quality cross promotion there with John Basil putting his Discover St. Louis Park hat on there. Absolutely.
Hey, I actually have a side note. Once you crack the
Danny Bissonette back with us after that Emmy Award-winning interview you conducted. Go ahead, Dan.
After you crack top 10 in rankings, actually, we charge now for our PWA games. It's $5 a pop. For,
that might explain why the food product was brought over here during the interview. That person didn't have money to pay for you the next game, but they want you happy to get in for free. So.
See what happens when you come to these games? I get stopped down there and talk to you for 10 minutes, too.
Well, we're back to start the second period as both teams will come at each other with their first units. It's the Rooney, Norca, and Staker line, and St. Louis Park is going to mix things up again a little bit. Not mix things up. They're still kidding. Penalty for another minute 18 to Kramer. So off the face-off draw for the Hawks, they do win and gain possession. This is Rooney, the 9th grader, with a momentary 3-on-2 over to Stager on the right side, and he does fire it wide, and Nightingale unable to corral that and get to the point there. You got, looks like Rempfer and Jermusik, the senior, killing for St. Louis Park, and the two leading scorers and really fast quality players, Lucas Savage and Greenbush up front. Nice moves by Stager as he gains Rooney goes with a toe drag and then he pulls it back. Nice set of moves over to Nightingale. Nightingale to Rooney. Rooney down low to Stager with Norca out front. Norca crashing the net, unable to get that, but nice piece of work by Lucas Savage riding him off momentarily. Back to the point this time. Pushed wide. Nice wrist shot on net, is blocked momentarily by Lucas Savage. And Lucas Savage steals it away from Erickson, going for the hat trick. Right, left, right. Oh, and it looks like Luca, I don't know if he momentarily lost possession, but Dylan Erickson harassed him there. Erickson, the senior captain, with the puck for the Hawks. Pushes it on in, and the Hawks will have to regroup, and unfortunately they can't retouch. And that, with only 10 seconds remaining in the penalty, that'll just about do it here for the Hawks. So you get a chance to watch Luca again here.
Yeah, and they've been, the penalty kill, both times we've been in the box, has been very good. Very aggressive. We had opportunity shorthanded.
And you've got Malarkey out there right now with TJ Halfen, and then back with Fortmeyer. This is Nick Larson for the Hawks, 17 with a cross-rink attempt at a pass. And doesn't hit the net to Gauchi, but it's pushed out front to center ice. Lucas Savage gains possession this time. And a puck is shot around the near wall here where Fortmeyer able to gain possession momentarily. Cross-ice pass this time to Miles Malarkey. Malarkey back to Hills at the point. One-timer, bounce wide, and Lucas Savage is able to complete the hat trick on the follow-up there. So at the 15-20 mark, I didn't quite see what happened there. We should mention that Keegan Hewsome, I believe, in net now with a change for... Oh, I apologize. I've been informed Keegan not in nets tonight, and that's Kelly Sandhofer, another female goalie for the Hawks, the only team probably in the United States with 2 female goalies at the high school level. So Lucas Savage gets the goal. Did you get the assist on that, gang?
I did not. I think it came in from the point. One of the D picked up the assist, and he did a nice job of going to the net. Looks like we got a penalty forthcoming. And who we got? Looks like we got...
So what kind of break?
Looks like Jesper Junkala is going to the box.
Thank you. Anything?
The Finnish phenom is heading to the box. I didn't see the call.
I don't either.
I've just been handed some information we want to share along to any Cooper fans as you take a look at Jesper. Some really sad news. I just found out Angel Hillstrom, who started and played the entire first period, did so only because she felt obligated to try, but she suffered a concussion earlier today. and she was feeling so bad the whole first period that they took her right to the hospital after the first period. You got Kelly Sandhofer and net, who played all 3 periods of the JV game, because the backup goalie is also out today. So Cooper on their 3rd goalie right now, and some shout out. Hopefully everything's okay with Angels. So.
Well, absolutely. You know, it's interesting you say that, because we were watching warm-ups, and I was watching with Coach Podine, and we were watching her, and she looked a little bit off balance. And I said something to Coach Podine that she looks a little bit off balance because. You know, I've seen her play, and I've had the opportunity to see her play growing up on the youth teams. And so when you see someone that looks a little bit off balance, it just didn't quite look like her. And so it's very unfortunate, because we know how bad concussions can be.
Right, and it's just
and so I really feel bad, and you know, certainly our thoughts go out to the family, because as I mentioned at the start of this game, she is a real competitor, and you know, she'll be missed by the Cooper Hawks here, and you know, hopefully everything when she goes to the hospital is just fine.
Absolutely, our thoughts, and we'll let you know any updates. Hawks back with their first unit on the power play. This is Rooney, Stager, and Norka up front with Nightingale, and I believe that's Erickson at the points. Rooney on that near wall on the wing, passes it back to Stager. Stager and Rooney.
I don't know if you guys noticed, there's a 5-minute.
Yes.
5-minute major.
Yes, there must have been a hit from behind. I didn't see it, but I'm sure that I think that's probably the.
Oh, beautiful pad by Eric going left to right as he denies Stager on the back, on the front door there.
That was a nice save. He was got a little bit caught off his angle, but he was able to get the pad out there and make the save. And you know, sometimes a good recovery can make up for not quite being square on the puck.
Well, and it's nice to have that 6'5" frame where you got those long pad legs too sometimes. Here's Curtis Greenbush. Oh, and a nice shot pinching him down on the far wall by. Good to see as Mitch Spiker walks by. So 3:15 remaining in this major, and Nick Larson will try to bring that out with Joe Huber for the Hawks. We should mention too, Cooper played Armstrong the other night in Armstrong-Cooper night, and there's some discussion long-term about what's going to happen with the joint program. A lot of numbers next year because they have they only have 2 seniors on this roster, but hoping they can keep the numbers flowing. I don't want to see any more programs go aside. And anyway, so.
No, I'm with you on that, Farmer. I think each time you merge, you give, you know.
It doesn't help either school long-term. You think, well, maybe we're going to get more competitive, but when you lose the school identity, then
you lose the school identity, and more important, it's a great game to play. And every time you merge, the reality of it is less people in the state of hockey are playing hockey.
Exactly.
And you know, I'm sure at times people look out and say, geez, you know what,
beautiful set of moves by Rooney. 360 off the crossbar. Wow, Ray Rooney. Beautiful.
Yeah, he can play.
But
you lose some identity. You'll have less people playing the game of hockey, and you know, it may be maybe for a couple top players, they say, geez, I have more success. But I think it's short-sighted as far as if you enjoy the game of hockey and like the game of hockey, you want the most kids playing this great game as possible.
Yeah.
And you don't get that by merging programs.
Right. Here you see Stager with a nice shot right in the breadbasket as Cooper able to generate a couple offensive chances there here. 1:45 remaining in the 5-minute major. We're at 5-0, roughly 11:53 to go in the second period. As you see, Stager, that's how he scored his goal against Armstrong the other night. I had a chance to watch a little of the replay, and he pocketed one. So Rooney and Norka and Stager still out there, and you've got a switch with Hills, Jake Bear, Rempfer, and Jesse Knutson. And a high wrister goes wide that time by Nightingale.
Pretty good kill so far for 3 minutes and only getting 2 scoring chances.
Yes.
On a 5-minute power play, the Park's been doing a pretty good job.
Right, right. And you know, it's such a burden for that Cooper first unit for all the ice that Rooney and Stager are having to lag down there too, you guys. You look at that too. So Rooney again, backdoor with Stager. Stager goes in front of net. He's got space. Turnaround shot on net, and Norka tries to rattle it home. But they're going to say that he was in the crease, and the face-off is going outside. Nice two-man game that time by the 9th grader Rooney and the sophomore Stager. And then you see Norka on the back door just trying to use that speed and strength to try to knock that home, as he will do.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. All right, thanks, guys. You know, you look at 33 North. They had him in front of the net the entire game.
And
I mean, the entire penalty.
Yeah, I mean,
put him in front. He's coming right back out. They're not giving him any rest.
Man, those guys have been out for the entire 3:45.
Yeah, the 5-minute power play. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely, they're going to be out there the entire 5-minute power play, trying to break that that shutout.
Absolutely, and you know, so 1:05 remaining as that one goes in off Kelly Sandhofer. We should mention she played with the girls varsity program at Cooper when they still had one, and then not many people know the story, but their coach passed away mid-season 3 years ago, as you probably know, Chris Johnson, and she instead of going over to the Armstrong Cooper girls, she decided to keep playing. So
yeah, and I have the opportunity as Kelly as well. Great puck movement here by Cooper.
Yeah, that's a nice set on the
cross-ice pass
by Erickson. So here's Norka and Erickson out there. Norka, nice pass over to Rooney. A lot of effort this time, and a good exchange taken away that time by Greenbush. And he's got Lucas Savage looking for his 4th on the breakaway on the right side. Wrister, nice piece of work by Sandhofer, able to get that blocker down, or glove down low. And here you've got Rooney again, still out there. Rooney's got Gauchi in the middle, wide open. Oh, nice job that time by E as he gets the stick up with a slight angle and he corrals that right into the glove.
Yep, and Noah kind of got a little push and landed on top of him, and then Noah gives him a friendly little headbutt to his goaltender after.
Yeah, exactly. But beautiful work. We should admit, Luka almost pocketing his 4th of the night already there.
I tell you what, you can definitely tell that top line. Rooney and Stagger have been logging some ice because on that last power play, they're moving the puck, but they're standing still, which shows they're a little tired out there.
And gosh, I guess if you're going to log 30, 35 minutes, that's just unbelievable, you know.
Here comes Carlos out of the box, who was serving the 5-minute major for Jesper. Jesper will be in for another 10 minutes on the misconduct for the hit from behind, which is I don't think it was a tough, a malicious hit, but the rules are you get your 5-minute and you get a 10 on top of it.
And if you're watching this game live in Finland trying to catch Jesper, he's not on the ice right now, so stay with us. I know we had wasn't his dad watching that one game at 4
they certainly know which ones are telecast, and they tune in, which is wonderful opportunity for them to see Jesper. But we'd have to zoom in over in the sin bin as Jesper's kicking back and relaxing for another 10 minutes. He won't be able to come back until the 3rd period for a little ice time. Well, he did play a period of the JV today too. Yeah. So he had a little action there, and he'll be back and available for the 3rd period.
As you see a back and forth set of sequence here, I'm John Fromm along with John Basil and Dan Bissonette. Orioles are in command 5-0 here, roughly 9 minutes to go in the 2nd period. This is Nicky Hames, was able to shoot that down low, and Sandhofer able to regroup it and stop it behind the Hawk net. And a nice piece of work by the left glove hand by Frank Jermusik, who finishes a check off on Hayden Gauchi and is able to corral it and shoot it into the zone. For the Orioles down low, you've got Greenbush being tried to ride off the puck by Szymanski, it looks that time. Stolen away by the Hawks and played to center ice where Derek Neiman tries to get a stick on it. And this time it's Riley Cass who pushes it in. Hills and the Orioles regroup and try to break it out at the 8-minute mark here. Little 2-on-1 sequence, backdoor wraparound attempt, and it is in the net, and the Hawks are able to light the lamp, and that's probably the guy who deserves the goal today, Trey Rooney, lighting it up at the 8-11 mark. I don't know if we have a chance to watch that whole sequence, but he had Eric really in no man's land, which anybody would have fell for, as he had a 2-on-1 here as Nightingale goes backdoor, but he fakes to him and then goes around and just sticks it in, unassisted.
Yeah, he had a pretty good recovery on that after he went around. He just was able to sneak it by him. You know, we had both E and I think Frank just a hair, missed it by a hair. And give the credit to, here the Orioles coming right back.
Oh, and Jesse Knutson gets the feed from Bear, but not able to capitalize. We'll see if that puts some jump in the Hawk step. Here's Norco with speed, tries to go by Fortmeyer, but a nice piece of work by Noah. Pitches it out, and Knutson will finish. Jesse's still looking for that first goal of the year, and he almost had one there. Kramer holds it in for St. Louis Park. Down low is Nightingale, 20 and 21 will lock horns behind the net, and we've got a stick up high, and we've got a cross check on a check from behind by Kramer on Nightingale, and I believe we're going to get 2 minutes for Joey Kramer for a cross check. Before that though, guys, it looked like something happened and Nightingale got a stick up high because he went to the mouth here. If you'll watch what he does here, he looks like he's holding his mouth and then boom. So that'll put the Hawks back on the power play as the Orioles really spending too much time in the sin bin tonight, and I'm sure that's something, you know, when you get a game where maybe you feel a tiny bit comfortable that you might have an advantage, you don't want to develop some sloppy habits and you lose the discipline, and that might be something going on here, John.
Well, yeah, certainly that penalty in the offensive zone to take a cross check behind the offensive zone is not what you would call a good penalty.
Right.
So you do want to keep disciplined, and you know, if you take a penalty in your defensive zone to help prevent a scoring chance, that's a good penalty.
Right.
But in this particular case, certainly we've got to stay disciplined. We got a 5-1 lead. You know, really the only way Cooper's going to get back in this game is if we play undisciplined hockey.
Well, and you've got the Hawks out there with their second unit in there as Nick Larson out there, I believe, with Joe Huber. Oh, and taken away almost momentarily that time as the Hawks. Ooh, a big collision at center ice as Noah Fortmeyer is the recipient of a Hawk sandwich as he's squashed that time by 2 Cooper players. Looks like Erickson or Nick Larson goes up the near wall. Gauchi running into the official, not able to keep it in, but a nice change over to the point this time by Cooper, and a wrister goes high and wide as Nightingale tried to pick his poison that time. Larson behind the net, being ridden off momentarily by Fortmeyer, but able to maintain possession in the near zone. 50 seconds of power play remaining here. And that puck is chipped off the near wall, but not be able to kick it on out is Noah Fortmeyer. Nightingale goes down on one knee, able to hold it in. Possible one-time shot, and a beautiful shot. Tell you what, Nick Larson unloaded a nice power play goal there at the 6:17 mark off a beautiful pass. And that was all just precipitated by a nice job holding it in that time by the Hawks on the point.
Yep. You know, and as we were mentioning, great movement by the Hawks. They brought it high. It was a nice shot. They had some traffic in front, but it comes down to right now the boys playing disciplined hockey and not taking those penalties.
Right.
And it looks like I think the Orioles are going to take a timeout, and I think exactly what you were talking about, Farmer. Coach Podine's going to talk a little bit about okay, guys, we got 6 minutes left in this penalty.
Right.
We've been in the box 7 minutes of a 17-minute, so all but 3. A little over 3 minutes we've been shorthanded this period.
Right, and you know, even though, Danny, you mentioned that, you know, Trey Rooney as well as Alex Steger, you know, a lot of standing around the power play because they're playing all the time, but getting a couple goals is going to put a jump in their step. This timeout gives their kids a break as well too. So, and I know Sean doesn't raise his voice a lot, but if you're over there, guys, and you're Sean right now, you know, are you raising the voice a little bit? How are you dealing with things here? You've been outscored 2-1, but you've been in the penalty box the whole second period.
I would think that Coach and Podine and Bissy, you jump in here, but he's going to be very direct with them. You know, have a nice stern conversation. I don't know if he'll raise his voice, but very stern. That boys, we get back to moving our feet, taking the steps, doing what we need to do without taking penalties.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it could be as little as they've never had a 4-0 lead in the game yet, and they jump out 4 or 5-0, and they stop moving their feet. They think they can. They don't have to work hard for some goals and start using their stick, start making stupid penalties, or start throwing their body around in not so good ways. And laziness I think is taking over here, and it's exactly what you don't want to happen when you're up 5-0 is let them back in the game by taking penalties.
And that's exactly what Cooper got a jump step as they send their first unit out there back against the Orioles, and you can see some quick momentum, and a wrist shot goes wide. Rooney won the draw, went all the way and had an effort, and you see some really big jump in the step for Cooper here. And here's Nightingale with a shot on net, goes behind the net, and a chance at a puck shot out front. Nightingale again with a wrister, just pinched wide, and Dylan Erickson will corral that at the 5:45 mark. And Nightingale finishes it off as Cooper completes a possible change here. Norca behind the net does run into Eric Spiker. Little inadvertent contact, I believe, and Eric's down, and he is okay. 2-on-1 this time. Curtis tries a dipsy-do move, and Nathan Linderholm holds his ground beautifully, able to do that. But Curtis moving so fast behind there, I can't even say his name, gets the puck behind the net, and TJ Rempfer momentarily holds. It's a nice job by Linderholm, but Curtis never say die attitude, able to get an opportunity there. All right, and you've got Hames there for the Orioles out there along with Owens as well.
Next goal here is pretty crucial.
Yeah, it is, because even though things were smoothing along, things maybe came a little bit too easy that first period. Park got a little overconfident, and the last thing that they needed was to put a lot of life in the Cooper step. But here's Miles Malarkey going high and missing a little wide. Nice to see the Orioles with pressure, and Charlie Hills, a low wrister, and the king of the snapshots, fires one. Noah Fortmeyer with a backhand. Malarkey goes high, and we've got a delayed penalty on Cooper as the Orioles will send a sixth attacker on out. Cross-ring pass to Malarkey, not able to hold that in, and we will have a stop here.
And unfortunately, Noah looks like his arm is one of our best defensemen. He's holding his arm a little odd, his right arm coming off, and Noah wanted to came off in that situation. So he's dropped his gloves. Let's hope his wrist and lower arm's okay.
And I believe, okay, we've got Noah Norka with a penalty there for 10 minutes?
No, let's see, cross-check.
Oh, did he get cross-check?
No, he assumed the penalty was on him, but it wasn't. So,
well, Nawan, I gotta say, Nawan's had a lot of time in the box, but as somebody who's known him well for years, so that poor guy.
Nothing worse than going to the box when it wasn't on you. It means you did something wrong out there, but he was volunteering going to the box when the ref called it on another player. So.
All right, yeah. So 2-minute penalty as Dylan Erickson is whistled for the minor that time. Orioles will try to add to their 3-goal lead. Here's a nice wrister by Casey Plender. Puck batted in the air by Nightingale. Momentarily unable to kick it out are the Hawks as Joe Huber does corral that and whack it at least to center ice where the O's regroup. You got Lucas Savage, Greenbush, Hames out there for the Orioles. And
here's a break for the Cooper Hawks.
Luckily, Charlie Hills maintaining a good defensive posture, and he's able to run away from Joe Huber there on the forecheck. Huber with an aggressive forecheck, little stick work, is able to corral it over to Hames, who gains the Hawk zone. Nicky Hames, the youngest member of the Oriole team, number 7 there with the puck. Back to the point to Hills. Hills down low to Hames. Hills and Hames, it could be a loss for him. Hills behind the net. This time puck back to the far wall. Casey Plender on a cycle play pushes it over to Lucas Savage, and Justin Rainier steps up and is able to try to drive that out off the half wall, but Lucas Savage uses that big frame and is able to steal it away.
Well, they're trying to work Lucas Savage's side, you can definitely tell, because he's got the shot coming off the sideboards. They want to get him in the slot with that big wrist shot, big slap shot that he has, but hasn't seemed to be working since the first power play they had.
Oh, and here's the second power play unit coming out, and they've been a little more effective as far as moving the puck.
Trey Rooney able to finish a check with TJ Halfin as the puck spills outside.
And that was Frommer made a save on the bench there. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, did he? Because last game, E made that unbelievable save that saved the life of Corey Peterson the other day on Tuesday. Just a laser, and Eric was paying attention. So
trying to give Frommer a night off, and he's getting shots from the bench from his own players as they zip it in.
Hopefully, Coach Spirides will maybe treat Ryan to a soda tomorrow, since he was near the puck there. So 18 seconds is all that remained, but here's Miles Malarkey, backdoor pass. Oh, puck is taken away by the Hawks and almost put back inadvertently in their own net as that puck hits off Sandhofer. Follow up by Jermusik, shot right into some traffic down low. That'll do it for the Hawk penalty as Dylan Erickson is going to make his way out on the ice for Cooper.
It's an important penalty for the Hawks to kill off. You don't want to get down 6-2.
Yeah.
Maybe if you can chip one in here before the period ends here, it's a whole new game.
Ooh, nice save that time by Eric Spiker as Nicky Owens was trying to corral the Cooper player, but number 13, Alex Steger, fired a laser towards the net. Just 2 minutes remaining in the second period, and Trey Rooney with speed able to gain the line. And I believe we have a too many men on the ice penalty, or what do we maybe have here?
Yep, I count 6, so I think you're right. So it looks like Cooper got a little bit tied up, and they're going to go back to the box for the final remaining 2 minutes of the period, which you know, really right now the difference has been the power play in the second period, and that's why Cooper's on the board with 2. The Orioles really need to answer here. Their power play needs to come up big. They've been just having trouble bearing it on the power play, and now they got to answer the bell.
Well,
you almost feel lucky if you're Park going into the going in up 5-2, because really with all the power play and the 5-minute advantage that they had, I mean, it could be easily a 5-4 game if they capitalize.
Well, and a sequence too, where if Cooper would have redirect in front of the net, Hill's backdoor with a nice attempt at a backhand, and Kelly Sandhofer able to put the pad down on it. But
Kelly's been playing really well. She
really has.
She came off the bench. She's done a nice job.
And I didn't see more than half of the JV game, but she did see a lot of rubber, and she's got a lot of practice this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's got to make you feel well on a personal note. So 1:24 remaining in the period, as well as the power play here. And St. Louis Park will try to add to that 3-goal lead as Greenbush tries to redirect it at center ice, but Joe Huber able to dump it all the way down.
Yep.
And Danny going to walk downstairs and conduct an interview, so sit with us here as we have 1 minute remaining in the period here. Justin Renier, who's a real good baseball player for the Hawks, as several of them are out there. And shot down, and able to corral that behind his net. Nice stop and go move behind the net that time by Frank.
Absolutely.
All right, and here's with speed, Lucas Savage on the far wall, able to put a spacing of ice down on the blades that time as he pushes it away. Charlie Hills thought somebody was there to join him, and unfortunately that puck is stolen away by Stager. Front door, back door, nice sequence that time, and Stager almost benefited from the fact that there wasn't anyone on that far side defensive position on the power play, and he almost
we got caught on a change there, and I don't think Hillsy knew his partner went off and threw it across, and then he said, I better go get it myself. So.
Yeah, right. If you make the mistake, you got to go for it.
Right.
So see the Hawks here with just 26 seconds remaining in period 2.
I think some of the confusion right now coming on the defense is Noah Fortmeyer's still hurt. Obviously, junior captain and a heck of a player. And so, you know, we'll see what the injury report on Noah is, but not a good situation. Certainly one of our top defensemen.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Danny going to try to give us an update on that. Just 10 seconds remaining, and Frank Jermusic fires it on net as he's, and a nice hold that time. That'll pretty much do it here for the end of the first period. Just 3 seconds remaining. And as what started as a 4-0 advantage in period 1, Cooper was able to corral 2 second period goals, one on a power play by Nick Larson, and then Trey Rooney on a beautiful unassisted goal after Lucas Savage had put the Orioles up 5-0 at the 15-20 mark. So if you're Cooper, you've got to build on some positives, and at least you're getting some chances and a break here. And if you're the Orioles, I'm sure there's going to be some discussion about another good life lesson. You know, Orioles struggling mightily to score goals the last few games, and things maybe came a little bit too easy in the first period.
Yeah, they did, and it's a 3-period game, and the Orioles played well in the first. You got to come out in the second. Can't give any momentum up. And they took some penalties that resulted in some goals. We had our chances on our power play, weren't able to execute that, and it comes down to the third period where that next goal, as Mr. Bissonette mentioned, the next goal is very crucial. 6-2 or 5-3 makes a huge difference.
All right, and Danny, we're ready for you down there. Go ahead and take it away.
All right, guys, I'm down here with one of the captains, Curtis Greenbush. Curtis, a little undisciplined second period out of you guys. I think you spent about 3/4 of the time in the box. What can you say about the second period that you need to change going into the third?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like the first period we came out flying, legs going. Everyone was flying, everyone's feeling good. Second period, we got a couple bad calls. Not everything went our way, It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the penalty kill actually saved you guys there. I mean, it could be easily a 5-4 game right now, but good penalty killing saved a few goals there. What do you guys need to change here going into the third?
Oh yeah, for sure. The penalty kill we've been doing great, except for the 2 goals that we just got scored on the penalty kill. But I think we for sure need to stay out of the box, put a couple more goals past these goaltenders. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, in the first period, you guys are moving your feet. You guys are moving the puck well. Do you think it was just you've never been up 5-0 before this year, and that kind of surprised guys? They started getting a little lazy, taking some dumb penalties, and I mean, you guys get back to moving your feet, moving the puck. I think it should be a successful third period.
Oh yeah, for sure. We got to get our heads back in the game. I don't know, just keep our feet moving.
All right, as a captain, you got to go pick up those guys in the locker room, give them some words of wisdom. All right, bud?
All right, I will. Thank you.
All right, good luck in the third. John, back up to you guys.
All right, thank you, Kurt Greenbush and Dan Bissonette, for that. We take a lot of Curtis's comments to home. We're going to step away here for the remainder of the second period. Wanted to just give a shout out to Paul in the truck. If you do want to get a copy of tonight's game, or you want to watch any of the games live, Paul's going to put up a graphic if he has it available. You can go to ParkTV.org to get a copy of this game tonight, or call 952-924-2635. For all the people that might be watching in the Cooper viewing area or want to get a copy of this game, just go to that website. You can also watch on demand the replay of the game if you don't feel like you want to invest the $10 to $15 in a DVD. But stick with us, and we'll be right back after this momentary break here on Park 16.
For others, it may have just been a summer job. But for me, it was training. Now I'm an Air Force pararescueman, and my job is to save lives. Make the right choices today, and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
All right, we are back for period 3. John Fromm joined along with the sidekick extraordinaires John Basil and Daniel Bissonette. Daniel, I don't know if that's proper. Danny Bissonette.
I haven't been called that since I was in trouble with my mom.
Yes, and no, you're not in trouble for doing your interviews, that's for sure. We're back here for period 3, and just, gentlemen, quickly, your thoughts about what needs to occur for St. Louis Park and for Cooper. Why don't you take Park and you take Cooper? If you're the coach, what are you telling and what are you doing?
Cooper?
You got Cooper.
I got
Okay.
Cooper. Well, you know what? I mean, it heavily relies on these guys that are out there right now with this first line of Coopers. I mean, if they pop in a few, we could have a whole new game here. But yeah, I mean, I've been impressed the whole game with the play of the young freshmen and sophomore on this first line. So.
Yeah, some good skill set
Which
there.
also, I mean, they've logged about 75% of the ice time, so you never know. I mean, they might be used to that, or they might be be a little down this third period just because of the lack of energy.
Norka checking Lucas Savage off the puck, but Orioles with a nice shot and attempt, and again Sandhofer has stood her ground well since she's been called on.
She sure has.
And here's Lucas Savage being able to fight off a check from Stager, but we are going to have a penalty whistle down. I believe we got a slash as TJ Hoffman is holding his arm, and for Cooper, not the person you want to put in the box, as Alex Stager, one of their best players, is called for slashing at the 16:22 mark.
Yeah, well, Farmer, when you asked what the Orioles could do, this is exactly what they want. That is, they stay out of the box. If anybody's going to be in the box, it's going to be Cooper. And work the power play. Don't let them back in the game by taking penalties that are unnecessary. Play disciplined hockey. Use your teammates. Move the puck quickly. They're certainly superior in talent, but that doesn't mean if you don't play smart hockey, you won't get yourself in a problem. So if they play smart hockey, stay out of the box, use their teammates, move their feet, don't turn the puck over, they'll be just fine.
Absolutely. And for the Hawks, we should say here on the kill, they've got Gauchi out there with Huber and Regnier and Linderholm. And you see Kurt Greenbush out there again with Jake Lucas Savage. And here's Nick Hames, the freshman, with a nice rush down, momentarily taken away and put off the near wall, and unfortunately for the Orioles, Frank Jermusik unable to hold the zone at that time, but he is able to dump it in.
A nice, fast, good start to the third period is going to be a big key for the Orioles. You get up 6-2, It's a pretty big deficit to come back from down in the third period, and be nice if they get one right away, and then all the pressure will go on the Hawks side.
Charlie Hill's unable to hold that in momentarily as 18-19 Hills and Jermusic still on the point here with 45 seconds remaining in the power play. Taken away by Trey Rooney for Cooper momentarily, and a nice hold by Dylan Erickson, and a nice job that time as well by Spiker pushing it in with an angle to get it into the netting here. Only 35 seconds remain in the Oriole power play here, but for Cooper as well, really a juggling act they've got to do as you take a nice shot at Miles Malarkey in terms of how they're going to balance the ice time for the big first line versus a couple guys on the second. I don't think you're going to see much third line use of this period. Just 25 seconds remain as Jermusic goes right out in front of Spiker and almost has that puck checked off his stick, but Frank able to gain puck speed and rushing it down and attempts a nice wrist shot that does go wide at the 14:35 mark. Guys, we mentioned Luca's got a hat trick on the game, but you know, both those guys get used a lot on special teams too, in Luca Savage and Greenbush, and they, as well as the big two for Cooper, kind of match up in terms of how much ice they get. So
yep. I can tell you, having Noah out of this power play unit now. Noah's got a hurt shoulder.
Yeah, what else did you find out? Just maybe a possible separation? Or?
You know, I think it's more of a sprain or a bruise. Could be a possible slight separation, but obviously they'll take precautions and let him rest of tonight and have him looked at, and then make a decision from there.
Right, yeah, that was better to be safe than sorry. Here's TJ Halfin as the power play has expired. Cross-rink pass does not find Miles Malarkey home, but Charlie Hill's able to corral it down low, and Halfin able to push that up over the net, but unfortunately nothing home there for the Orioles. Back to the point this time, over to Hills, 19. Charlie with a wrister down low. Nice tip attempt by Bear, does go wide, and this is Dylan Erickson for Cooper. A little 360 move and a steal that time. Oh, and I believe Erickson did get a penalty. Was it a slash on the Oriole player on Erickson? But I do believe we have a slash being called. I think that might be on Jake Bear. What did you guys get on that?
I'm not sure what he called. Maybe a hold on Jake Bear or something along those lines.
Yeah, I don't know. Paul, can you run that even one more time? As Jake does get saddled with the penalty, but I saw Dylan Erickson do a 360 dipsy-do before he hit the ice, but don't know what happened here. Erickson 7 here with the puck. Did you see him breaking it out here? Malarkey's in 13. There's Bear behind him. Oh, maybe he got him for a partial trip with the left skate there.
Yeah, it's hard to see. Hard to see exactly what he called on him.
But just what the doctor ordered for Cooper is that first unit out there, and unfortunately for them, Rooney wins the draw, but Linderholm not able to hold it in. Linderholm at center ice pushes it over to Stager, but a nice back check that time put on, and Casey Plender will wire it all the way off the far wall, but unfortunately not able to relieve pressure. Norca down in the corner for Cooper, 33, over to Rooney, 23, back to the point, Linderholm. Linderholm wrister deflects wide, where Justin Rainier is able to corral that, taken away by Rooney behind the net. Trey, as the Hawks finish a change as they get another one out on the point there, and a wrister holds his position well as Eric Spiker, and the puck does go in over Eric there as Alex Stager is able to put that in at the, I don't know, I was a fluke how that bounced 3 ways and went up. So unfortunately at the 13:05 mark, Cooper does get a power play goal here. I think it was Stager.
Yeah, I think you're right. They got a whack, and it kind of popped up, and I think hopped over E. Spiker, who was down.
Yeah. And Eric made the initial save, and just the rebound just went up him. So Eric did. His shoulder there. Yeah, he made the initial save. So Stager gets credited with his goal, and assist goes to Rooney at the 13:04 mark on the power play, and that'll cut the deficit to 5-3 for Cooper.
Well, there you go. As Cooper, you wanted to pop one in right away, and see what happened. Anything can happen from here.
And here's Joey Kramer. The Orioles will try to reclaim some momentum here. The 12:49 mark.
See how Park responds. as our saying goes on the PBA team, never too high, never too low. We'll see if they can keep their cool and keep playing their game that got them out to that 5-0 lead.
Hasn't been an overly physical game. You have had quite a few penalties, but things have been relatively clean, and we'll hope it stays that way. Nice pinch down by Joey Kramer as he finishes a check, and the Hawks finish their line change. 12:15 remaining here as Hubert corrals the puck at center ice, but he's unable to get it into the neutral zone further. Jesper stolen away by Eriksson. Dylan Eriksson, number 7 for the Hawks, goes to the backhand here, trying to work around the net, but he's unable to do so. And that puck is now corralled down low by, is that Rooney again? I believe that's Trey Rooney, 23, goes to the toe drag, front back, hauled down, but no penalty on the Orioles that time. Luka Savage, or excuse me, puck shot on net, and unfortunately Remfer not able to clear the zone there, but for the Hawks, they're going to regroup in their own zone here. St. Louis Park as well finishes their line change. And now it's packed up to neutral ice. Guys, just a lot of, you know, neither team really going great guns for going for the jugular here. To me, it looks like St. Louis Park playing real tentative. Maybe a little on their heels, and Luka Savage finishes a check well. Does take the player down and does draw some catcalls from the fans, but
looked like a clean hit.
Yeah,
though.
To me, yeah.
Yeah, open ice, clean hit. But you know, right now it's you know, at this point in the game, it's really anybody's game. You know, the Orioles keep taking some penalties, and Cooper can score on our power play. When Cooper takes penalties, we're not able to execute the power play, and as a result, it's going to be a this game is going to be a ball game.
And here's Norca on the intercept. Taken off nicely by TJ Remfer. And Remfer in the corner, able to tick that puck around as well. Stolen down low at the 10:35 mark.
Looks like Cooper got one.
We got a penalty on Greg Nightingale for a slash here, possibly.
Yeah, and you know, 13 plays very physical, and you know, really, it's now time for the Orioles to answer the bell here on the power play.
Could you give me soda, Dr. Pepper?
You know, one thing I noticed about the first period is Park was real aggressive on their forecheck, causing turnovers. I think Luka had 2 goals off of turnovers. If they can get back to that, pressuring their D. Cooper's D doesn't have the best hands in the world, and which makes them cause turnovers. If they can get back at that.
Oh, and nice, beautiful save that time by Kelly Sandhofer. There was a nice sequence there on the shot attempt as well here.
And Kelly has been solid. I mean, I don't think, I think she hasn't given up a goal since she...
No, she has.
Yeah.
No, well, she gave up the one to Luka Savage like a minute into the second period to put Park up 5-0. Back to the point here, Jermusik over to Hills, shot wide, but for the Orioles, Luka Savage corrals it in the corner. Just a little over 10 minutes remaining, and Jermusik has the puck stolen away and shot down by Gauchi. Unable to stop it behind the next spiker, but Charlie Hills is able to maintain puck control and get him over to his defensive partner. 1:25 remaining in the penalty here. 9:55 in the game here, and here's Nicky Hames. He's got Greeny with him. Hames goes to the backhand. Nick Hames goes down to the ice here. I'm not sure if he slipped. Good hold this time by Jermusik as he battles Joe Huber on the near wall. Nice piece of work by the senior Jermusik. Luka Savage tries to cycle down low, but nobody home, and Rainier rifles it around the wall, where a nice job holding it in with the skate is Hills. Hills, backhand pass to Greenbush. Ooh, a nice low slap shot, just unable to be redirected. Hames as well. Nightingale, oh, and a nice check. That time a beautiful check, guys, by Kurt Greenbush down low, able to finish that check. Luka Savage with a 1-on-2 here. We'll see if he drops a pass. Beautiful drop pass to Nicky Owens. Cross pass backhand to Malarkey, and a nice shot by Malarkey, and she's able to hold her zone as well and make a nice save that time. Malarkey, 13, cross rink pass over to Luka. Luka backdoor, can't find Malarkey clean. Malarkey looking forward as well. He's got Nicky Owens, a nice wrister, drop down pad again, and she's done a beautiful job in net. And I think the Hawks might have solved their goaltending issue. I tell you, beautiful set of efforts here this night by Sandhofer. And a nice job this time, Malarkey, with a nice drop pass to Owens. That puck is rifled wide as the Hawks are at full strength and able to maintain their posture in the game here at the 8:25 mark. Hawks are able to finish their change here, and no icing is going to be whistled down here as number 24, Riley Cass, on the forecheck for Cooper. Rainier bangs it off the wall and able to hold it in momentarily for Cooper. Dan Neiman finishing a check with some ferocity for them. Knutson down low for St. Louis Park as they finish their change at the 8-minute mark. Nice hold that time by Casey Plender. He had a couple good games earlier this week, and he's really had a nice step up lately.
Sure has.
Yeah, as a sophomore. He back to Plender, ready with the slapper. Nice job that time by Cooper as they're able to steal that. And number 2, that's Jordan Szymanski, who relieves pressure for them. Center ice, puck goes back and forth for each team as Neiman makes his way to the bench at the 7:29 mark. If you're just joined us at the Rec Center, we're 5-3. The Orioles are ahead here. A hat trick for Jake Lukasavage, and with 7:20 remaining, guys, as you take a look at Nathan Linderholm make his way to the bench, still anybody's game, and I think it's probably going to come down to who stays out of the penalty box, because it looks like the power plays might do it for either team here. So
yeah, that, and I think Park has just got to, if they can play well in the neutral zone, eliminate those turnovers in the neutral zone, and just get the puck in deep, because make Cooper skate. Not the greatest skating team, so try to make them skate the full length of the ice to get their chances instead of just turnovers in the neutral
Here's
zone.
Steger and Rooney, backdoor play. Oh, Norca out front, not able to finish, but shot down again. And that was a nice 1-2 sequence with Steger and Rooney as they passed 1-2-3 to each other and tried to get it to Norca, but he wasn't able to get it, and Eric held his ground there at 6:52.
Well, it's certainly a barn burner, and I tell you, Cooper, I'll give them credit. They remind me of some of the top teams that are a little bit lighter in talent, where they play very few players, but they're really into the game and they just keep coming.
Well, I know that's always what builds, when you've coached at Cooper that long and the numbers have always been an issue, he's had to be really creative a lot of years on what he's going to do when moving guys to D that maybe have offensive skills. And Curtis Greenbush with a backhand attempt that does go wide here. Greenbush out there again as he logged a ton of ice himself. Back to the point this time, and a nice hold by Rempfer, the sophomore. Rempfer, a redirect, and that puck unfortunately finds nobody home at the 6:24 mark. A lot of really great athletes on both teams that play multiple sports as well too, we should say. I know my son Ryan Fromm and Nowan Norca both play baseball and have been best friends for years, and I'm glad Nowan's not out there slashing at my son. As Rainier able to clean pressure, Norca tries to beat Charlie Hills, and he does clean. Yep. Oh, and a nice job by Jermusic as Norca extended every amount of energy, and he's completely gassed just by that effort. So here's Lukasavage, a nice job with speed around the corner there as he beats Rainier. Orioles with Frank Jermusic. Frank's had some quality chances to stay, and he's rushed the puck up more the last week than I'd seen early in the season. As we got a takedown near center ice as Kramer out there. Oh, one-time pass on net, follow-up. Oh, and a save that time actually by the defenseman, or excuse me, by Steger for Cooper. Norca not able to corral the puck at center ice. A beautiful save by Steger, because that was going to go in the net on the Joey Kramer redirect. And we've got a Cooper player down, and I am not sure what happened as Jake Bear's stick is attached at the hip. Some people are yelling, and I'm not sure, but he's laying motionless behind the net. Paul, can we get a shot on?
Yeah, looked like Jake kind of rid him into the boards there. Had his stick around the front of his body and kind of rid him into the boards. It wasn't anything.
Right, it wasn't anything really too hard even. It was just the stick might have been in front of him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it might have got him. You ever get one in the gut, you guys?
Yeah, they sure do, and that can really knock the wind out of you.
Knock the wind right out of you.
It would look like 15? His own momentum, along with Jake, just gonna have his arm around him. We'll see what the. So as he comes in, he's got a lot of momentum. Yeah, it's tough to tell if a stick went into him or if
it looks, yeah, because he's obviously got this.
Jake definitely held up. It looked like maybe his head or his knee or something might have hit.
And he's really motionless down there as well too as we went to the replay. Dan, did you catch a number on that for your? Okay, we were trying to find out which Cooper player that is down there, but I'm not sure if we have found what number that is. One more time, as there was Jake Beer on the one-time attempt, and there you saw Joey Kramer almost finish that, you guys, on that scoring attempt, and Staker actually made the save with his stick there.
Yeah, this game's got a little more flow, and it's actually helping the Orioles in at least the last few minutes. They've been flowing well and moving their feet again, you know, as opposed to in the second period where we did a lot of standing. So
right. Well, you know, I think really the story of this game, for, you know, if you look at it for either team, even though Luka got the hat trick and had the third goal early on in the second period, really the story is 15. If it is 15, that's Nathan Linderholm, who I coached in Little League.
It does look like 15.
Yeah,
it looks
I
like
coached him for, oh my heavens, it is Nathan. Yeah, he's a Crystal kid who I know really, really well, and plays defense for them and baseball for their team. So Nathan gonna sit up there. I'm wondering if he just really got the wind knocked out of him there, but
it was just kind of awkward the way he went into the boards. You know, he had a lot of momentum, and I think just a little bit of pressure from Jake made it so that he was unable to kind of stop where he wanted to, and I think he kind of just flew into the boards, and you probably got it up underneath the ribs, and probably got the wind knocked out of him, and we'll see how he gets up here.
And a lot of applause that time as Nathan Linderholm able to get up, and he's getting some recognition. Or is that number 5? No, that is 15, Linderholm. So yeah, I've known that young man, and he was always so hard on himself, you guys, in baseball. He was always wanting to win so badly and never always make contact. He was just so hard on himself if things didn't go his way, and I hope he'll be okay. As you take a look at Nick Larson there with Erickson, as really a free timeout for each team, and they're going to come back, though. Cooper are going to come back with that second unit with Larson, Huber, along with Gauchi, and the Orioles come back with their second unit as well, excuse me. Puck shot down at the 4:54 mark, and Lucas Savage has got Erickson lined up, and a nice job using his body by Jake as he's able to finish that check, and Gauchi hits the red line and just dumps it all the way in. Eric with a nice job going to the backhand to find TJ Halfin on the weak side, as the Orioles will regroup behind their own net and try to get it up the near wall. Stolen momentarily by the Hawks. Out in front, and Frank does a nice job tying up that player as well, Jermusik. He's really a really fundamentally sound defenseman for the Orioles. And here's puck is shot out to center ice, where 21 Nightingale will shoot it in. Hawks maybe getting caught on a change here momentarily, but they do a nice job finishing the change as Nightingale corrals behind their own net. Only 4 minutes remaining here, because Cooper will have to take a few chances here to try to cut into the 5-3 deficit and try to get some offensive zone pressure. Both teams, Stager unit out there with Rooney and Norca for the Hawks. Guys, we should mention, before we get to the end of the game, really exciting time in the St. Louis Park scene for the boys basketball team. They're undefeated in the conference, and I believe they are playing again tomorrow night and Tuesday on the road. So make sure you go to the gopark.org website to find out about what's going on with the park schedules or the North Suburban Conference website. That's my public service announcement. We had to fill that in.
I've been actually meaning to get to one of those games.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go, boys.
Oh, here we got a breakaway as Nikki Hames goes back door. Oh, and she does a nice job holding the pad there. And Norca with speed trying to rush it in on Eric. Eric over to Norca. Charlie Hills with a nice job using his body to try to ride him out that time. Again, though, I mean, beautiful work with the pad, and
well, they got one.
Nawan just got a penalty that time because he jumped into that player, and wow. And some bad blood out there big time. I don't know what caused Norca to get so mad like that he jumped towards the player.
Yeah, Jake didn't need to jump in there too. He might be
did Lucas Savage jump in or
No,
Bear?
Yeah,
Well,
he might be gone for being the.
Well, and you watch her, and I got to say, I've known Noan since he was a little kid. He does jump up at him like he wants to hurt him, and I don't know why the anger there, but.
Yeah, and then I think what happened is after he got the call against him, he tried to bring the other player to retaliate, so he went up to him again.
Was trying to play. Yeah,
and I think, and then Jake took offense to it, and so.
Well, he got kicked off, I think, because he came off
got
the bench.
the bench. Yep.
Yeah,
First guy off the bench.
You can't come off the bench doing something like that.
Paul, do you have that sequence where you can see Jake coming off the bench on that sequence?
If he would have came off to the bench and just been on the ice, it would have been fine. But he came off the bench and went right towards.
Yeah, if you've got, I'm not sure exactly what transpired with. It was really seemed like a harmless play to me. You know what I mean? I mean, there was just a normal set of checks, and I don't know what.
So there's the charge.
Total charge, and he left his feet and he jumped in the air.
Yep.
Whoever got charged gave a shot back right there.
And then,
and then Noan followed back that time.
Yep.
Yeah. And understandably, he was checked hard, and he was very mad at Norca, and he let him know that. And was it 7? Was it Nicky Hames that time?
I think it was.
It was, and a total mismatch in size and body style. And Nick was doing nothing wrong on the side there. And for that young man, unfortunately, just a terrible time to get a double minor against your team when you're down 2 goals and no scoring opportunity whatsoever in that sequence.
Yeah.
So Park only got 2 there, huh?
Yeah, and then there'll be a 2 and a 10.
For Bear?
Bear will get a 2 and a 10 for leaving the bench, would be my assumption.
Right. And I wasn't quite sure, did Jake Bear leave the bench after Norca made the the follow-up check down here? Or, okay.
Yes.
Or he didn't leave it right away when Norca made the charge and the jump into him? Okay, I wasn't sure. Well, that should just.
It was after the whistle.
Yeah. So, that's one of the things about hockey. No matter what the flow of the game is, you've got to maintain composure and discipline. You also have to understand that, there is no reason to leave your feet ever for a hockey play whatsoever.
Right. It's a 4-minute. We got
double
a 4-minute
on
double
Norca,
minor and a 2-minute on the
and 2-minute on Bear.
I'm guessing they gave.
No, it's going to be 4 on Norca and 2 on Bear.
I'm guessing they gave Norca. They gave Norca an extra one for going back at him.
Yep.
And Bear.
4 on 4 for 2 minutes.
Bear
yep.
Got the 2 minutes for jumping in there.
And I don't know really what I think it seems like Bill Rooney is really very unhappy with. Maybe the.
I guess he's probably wondering why his player got the extra when he got retaliated on. And
I bet what he's wondering too is that if Bear gets the 10-minute misconduct, but they only lose him for 2 minutes for a minor for jumping off the bench. I don't know.
A 5-minute major or something.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
I'd be questioning that too. That seems pretty minor for just.
Yeah.
For jumping on and starting the whole thing.
Right. And even though you're never going to win any friends or influence people as an official, that is important to at least explain the thought process there. And
looks like they're just.
Okay, now Norca just getting the initial minor.
Well, they didn't need to put up a.
Well, wait a minute. But then Riley Cass is going in to serve a minor for them or a misconduct. So maybe Norca got a 2 and a 10, and so did Bear.
Yeah,
maybe that's what. Right. Yeah, I'm thinking. But then why would Park be?
He's got a serve.
He got the extra minor. That's right. Okay, so Norca's got an extra minor. All we got is a 5 on 4 here for 2 minutes for Park.
Although I'll tell you, I like this right now. They're going to like this power play for the Orioles. They got a power play, and now we'll see what happens. They got some different. We got Jesper out there. We got Bushy. See what happens.
The biggest thing right now is Park just to keep control down from the hash marks down. Don't get too aggressive up top for a turnover into a goal. Just want to gain control down low.
Yeah.
No bad turnovers and.
Well, and you're up 2 with 3 minutes to go, as you guys mentioned, and just tape to tape, shorter passes like that long pass was probably not what the doctor ordered in that sequence. But you've got Charlie Hills behind his own net as he works it over to TJ Rempfer. Rempfer cross-ice pass that time, pushed over to Kurt Greenbush, and Kurt, with some speed, able to break the line that time. Greenbush goes to the backhand. Oh, pulls it out front. And Jesper trying to knock her on home as he was positioned well and almost able to collect some Finnish garbage. The trash master looking for a little goal there, and you gotta like that. Because he's looking for a Gino. Do they call him Ginos in Finland? I'm not sure, but
here the boys come.
And here's Luka Savage gaining possession in the near zone, but unfortunately Orioles not able to hold possession. Under 2 minutes remaining in the game, just 41 seconds in the power play, but that's probably the secondary part of the game today for the Orioles. You've got Luka Savage still out there with Greenbush as all forwards, understandably on this side of the ice. Want to make sure you get nice short passes. Renier able to foul that off, and with still 20 seconds remaining, we'll see what Bill Rooney does here. If they can get to the 20 seconds, he might go for the quick pull down 2. Stolen away that time by Huber off Ames. And just 10 seconds do remain in the power play, but only 1:22 in the game for St. Louis Park. And Halfin fakes the shot, ridden off the play by Erickson behind his own net. And that'll do it, and we'll see what the Hawks try to do here. But unfortunately for them, not able to get it on net. Save that time in the glove. Possible breakaway for Cooper. Ooh, and Trey Rooney was
the guy they wanted.
That was the guy they wanted, and it was 6 inches outside for his pass there.
Oh, there they go.
Wow, and Nick Larson bangs it home off the Rooney shot at 59 seconds, and that's going to make a, if we can follow that whole sequence too, Paul, Rooney jumps the ice. Yeah, Rooney jumps the ice, and they miss him by maybe, I don't know, 2-3 inches. It's a little too far on the headman.
I'll tell you what, though, Frammer,
but he got his stick on that.
There's a sign of a good player right there. Just barely missed a breakaway, worked hard,
and
won the race.
Slow down. Yeah, look at that. And he circles.
And came back and gave a
weak side backdoor pass. Well, it was a shot, but Eric probably couldn't see it. And
timeout Cooper here. They're gonna.
That what you're right, Danny, because he had to fully extend to make contact, so that wouldn't have been an icing either. You know, traded on that play.
Yeah.
So and then he circles well. And nice job dropping the left blocker down, but nothing he can do there on the rebound. And that's Nick Larson's, I believe, I don't have the official count. That's his second goal of the game, I believe, for them. As Stager got the power play goal earlier, and Cooper's got the last 4 goals of the game. That's probably the story, and a lot of that's Sandhofer. But see what's the message over there? What are you telling the guys right here, Bays?
You're telling them to pick up the sticks in front of the net, tie your guys up. When you get it over the red line here with less than a minute, put it deep. You know they're going to pull their goalie, so if you get it, you get an opportunity once you're over the red line, go ahead and shoot for the net, but don't ice it. Tie up sticks, move it up, put it deep.
The most important, don't worry about scoring the empty net goal. Just get the puck in deep, make them go.
The individual glory is what can really
make them go end to end, because it takes about 20 seconds to go from your end to set up a play at the other end.
So you got both teams probably best 5 players as. It looks like, of course, you've got Stager and Rooney out there, along with Nightingale, Erickson, and then for the Orioles, you've got Luka Savage, Greenbush, Malarkey, of course, Noah Fortmeyer with the injury, and that's been a big loss. But your music out there with Hills. Just 55 seconds remain, and Trey Rooney gathers the puck at his own blue line and works it down low. Rooney on a 3-on-2 here as he goes wide. He's got space. And a wrist shot, just goes wide. A nice job that time. Held in with 40 seconds remaining. Rooney.
Goalie's out now, Frommer. Goalie's been pulled.
Got a 6-on-4 back to Nightingale at the point, and he just fires it wide. Puck is on the weak side. Spiker down, trying to gather that. And for the Orioles, unfortunately, an icing call is going to be saddled. A couple of good chances by Cooper there as Gauchi came out as the 6th attacker. And with 24 seconds remaining, Nightingale, nice job though, we should mention, by Luka Savage, able to cut that angle down on making sure that shot goes wide, that you're cutting all that angle down in your, those are a lot. Wayzata is great at that, you guys, on blocking shots and just changing angles, and it's a lot, it's a great, so 23 seconds remain, and Curtis Greenbush nicely able to at least, even though he wanted to pop that over Dylan Erickson into the neutral zone, instead he gave Sean Podine a rubber present.
There we go. Here's an important face-off right here. Let's see if guys lock up.
Nice win for Rooney off the draw. Erickson back door, nothing there. Nightingale holds it in with 15.
No, there it is.
Wow. Nightingale. Oh my heavens. Wow, Greg Nightingale fires it from the point, and that is tipped and tagged, and I didn't get the number of that.
It was tipped right in front, just went through the 5-hole. It'll send this game into overtime.
That is unbelievable. I mean, just the whole sequence of this game, 5-0, and then let's watch that play again. It's only 12 seconds remain. Oh, it's a beautiful tip.
Larson that tipped it in front?
Nothing at all that he could do as Nightingale. Was it Stager?
I didn't see the number, but it was, like you say, a beautiful tip right in front of the net.
Yeah, because Nightingale fires it down low, and just a beautiful redirect, and Eric's not lined up for that, and it looks like it 5 holes him there. So that's going to take us possibly to over number 14. Oh, Hayden Gauchi got that goal. So Hayden Gauchi scores that goal, and that'll do it and send us into overtime. And I had a feeling before we entered tonight with how, with how tough it had been for Park to score the last several games, and how hard it is a lot of times over there. I thought it was going to be a relatively, both teams battling it out with their records, and so
I was probably thinking it would be actually a lower scoring game.
Yeah, right.
I was thinking the Orioles would come in and probably pull out a, 3-1, 3-2 game. But now we got 10 goals in this game, and we're going into overtime.
And you know what? Irregardless, I mean, it's obviously all the momentum's on Cooper's side right now, but St. Louis Park has an excellent chance to do what's important here and pull. Sean's got 3 minutes to regroup that gang over there and see what they can do. And I'll tell you what, if you're Bill Rooney, you sit there and you go, we're in our 17th, 18th game of the season. We've been rotating 2 goalies. One gets injured before the game, the other's sick. So I got to go with my JV goalie who played the whole game today because of the emergency. And she's been the story for them keeping him in, just because she's been so fundamentally sound. And I really mean that. That's been the biggest bugaboo they've had the whole year, you guys, is that, giving up 7, 8, 9 goals a game, and
yeah, she's really played well between the pipes, and she's made the initial saves.
Yeah,
there certainly have been rebound opportunities,
yes, there have.
And we've had opportunities to put it in and just laying in the crease that we've missed. But here's the thing that you got to give her a lot of credit for: she's made every first save.
Yeah. Yes, right.
Well, yeah,
and if you can do that, and they've been getting the second and third period as they got more in the game, I thought they got some decent back-checking forward support help from Stager and Rooney and some of the forwards that were, it's really easy to get in love with worrying about scoring goals and, only having, not playing your back check enough. But
not to take away any credit away from her, but yeah, there has been that initial save, but really that's all the chances Park has got is just one initial shot. There hasn't been a whole lot of traffic in front. You think that putting a new goalie, a JV goalie in front, you want to crash the net hard, you want to put traffic in front, get her shaking at first, and they haven't really done a good job at that, but we'll see.
And this is a good learning lesson for anybody that's involved in sports, because you come in, you maybe get some goals in the first period with polish, and you really are putting the screws to the other team. They're low as can be, it'll be really interesting to see. I really hope the boys really do need, candidly, both of these teams really need a point.
No,
right.
Or two, and I mean, emotionally for both teams, because Cooper's only wins were in that tournament, and Park, had the Richfield win a week ago, and
I think important here. I think you got to have your big dogs. I think Lucas Savage.
Yeah.
And I think Greenbush have got to turn it on and just get control of pucks, take pucks hard to the net, because I mean those two today have been pretty much their whole offense, their whole opportunities. They've been creating opportunities. Get the puck in their hands. If they can drive hard to the net and just make stuff happen, I think that could be a difference here. It's a chance for those two guys to maybe step up and try to make a play.
And we should say the lineups out there right now for both teams. It looks like St. Louis Park. I hope we can get an update on Noah Fortmeyer before the end of the broadcast too. What is going on with that? And there's 2 players down in this game. Rooney out there, of course, with Gauchi and Stager, because Norca is still off for the 10-minute. Orioles counter with Lucas Savage, as you mentioned, out there. He's out there with Malarkey and Halfin. Nice pinch up that time by Frank Termusik. She mentioned 8-minute 8-minute overtime.
See right there, I think Luka just tossing it in front of the net, I'd like to see him control that puck.
Yeah.
Get his head up, move his feet. Like he was, like how he scored his first 2 goals in the first period.
Right, exactly. Well, and the Orioles are going to change it up, and the Orioles are going to try to maybe do some line matching here, which we don't normally talk about a lot, John, in a lot of the games we've covered. But sometimes it's, you know, Orioles have split the lines, and now you've got the Orioles' first unit up against the Hawks' second unit with Greenbush, Hames, and Owens out there. Off the face-off win, Nightingale on a screen. Now it doesn't get through, though. And a possible break for the Orioles with numbers. Charlie Hill's on the weak side. Oh, and a nice drop down, and the puck goes harmlessly in the corner as the Hawks player is able to pinch it down there. Nick Larson, who scored the tying goal for them just with 15 seconds remaining. Nick Larson now able to break it up over to Szymanski. Stolen away that time by Hames. Hames with speed over past Nightingale. Shot on net, and there it is. Park wins the game at the 6:57 mark of overtime as St. Louis Park gets the win as Kelly Sandoffer, who just stood on her head for 2.5 periods, just played her heart out. And
that was Nick Owens.
Was it? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Nicky Owens came down, and you know what? And like you say, tribute to she just played awesome between the pipes, and in the end she got beat short side, and that was just a little bit pulling up, thinking with the speed he was going to come across the middle, and he beat her short side, and it gives the Orioles a overtime win in a game that you would have thought 5-0 at one time for the Orioles, that you wouldn't be in overtime. But you know, a win's a win, and sometimes you win ugly, and you know, they pulled it off in the end.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's, you know, what I don't know what to say here as I'm busy snapping a few photos. You have to forgive me, you guys. But
yeah, you know, I mean, I'm thinking 5-3. 5-3, how it's going to end. You know, it's not the way you wanted it to happen, but you know, you bend, don't break. They broke at the end of the third period there, but shows some good character and coming back in the overtime, and you know, like you said, never too high, never too low. Regroup in that overtime, before the overtime, and
you know, the one thing I noticed in the overtime was, you know, and even prior to us scoring on the last shift, the first shift, the energy of the Orioles, you know, they need that energy and that effort, not when it gets to overtime, but when the puck drops originally. And there was a whole nother speed level the Orioles were playing at overtime.
It was the first period speed.
It was the first period speed, exactly right. And you can't take 2 periods off and then bring it in overtime. Luckily, after playing that speed of the first period, they took 2 periods off and went into overtime. They brought back that speed in the overtime to get the win. But, you know, they got to play that all 3 periods.
Yeah.
Well, and, you know, I just want to say this. I'm a Park guy, true and true. I went to high school here and with everything else. Tell your kids to feel great. It was, boy, I just feel so bad. I feel so bad for that girl, though, too. She played, but that's the way life is. And for the Orioles, they're going to live another day with it, get a win, and get ready for Saturday night against Spring Lake Park. As you see a lot of the guys gathered down there and saying hi to each other. And
Coach Bodine is spending a little time with Kelly, the goaltender, telling her great job.
Oh, yeah.
And she did indeed play really well. And I see her mother coming up right now.
Yeah,
and,
boy, that was something else
your
you got to
daughter,
visit with.
She had a great game. She really played solid.
Your daughter was really the story.
5.5 periods.
Yeah, and I'll repeat, she played, they talked a little bit.
She really played the story of the game.
She played 5.5 periods. And, you know, Farmer, we can do a quick interview with her.
Go ahead, yeah.
Can I use your headset there, Bissy? Here, put this on. Yeah, put this on. Here, we got to talk a little bit.
All right.
Hey, it was wonderful seeing you. All right.
We're always grabbing somebody for a quick interview.
Thank you. Yes.
Well, I just wanted to say, you guys, Saturday night the Orioles have Spring Lake Park on the road up at Fogarty, and a lot of things will be worked on in practice tomorrow. A lot of things will be discussed. If you're Sean Podine, what's first on the docket for practice tomorrow?
You know, I don't know what's going to be first on the agenda for practice, but the conversation and the tone of the practice will be work ethic from the drop of the puck all 3 periods.
Yeah.
You know, it's an effort, it's a passion game, it's a hard work ethic game, and work ethic and attitude. When you looked at some of the penalties we took, you know, you got to keep composure, you got to have a good attitude out there even when things don't go that way, but you never stop working hard, and that'll be the focus of the practice. How he'll get there and what he'll run tomorrow is yet to be determined.
Well, I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of discussions in the locker room long after the players leave tonight, and Park does have a chance to regroup and even with the victory and get things righted a little bit on Saturday. Might be, you know, a case too where you got the fourth game in 5-6 nights too, and I'm just guessing here too. And
no, I mean it definitely should be interesting how practices run tomorrow, because I mean you do want to come out with that high intensity and want to. First of all, I believe that there will be a long talk before practice tomorrow, before they jump out on the ice.
Right.
I mean that's needed. Right. And then I mean if your practice isn't full tilt, if you got guys slacking off, I mean it's almost like you got to make examples of them, you know, out there.
And there was I wanted to say something really positive earlier in the week. There was a sequence of, not to get involved in names or numbers or anything, but there was a teaching moment on Monday during a game where one of the Orioles players had several incidents that were somewhat unsportsmanlike in nature, and Sean dealt with that, and that young man had to deal with the consequences the next day. Yep. And you just never know, and that's part of growing up for the kids as well, as being understanding that there's repercussions as there are in life.
There might be some tonight too with what happened.
They might be skating after the game. They might be skating later tonight.
Well, the one thing that Coach Podine does very well is, you know, he expects accountability out of the players, and he expects them to be, you know, good people first. And when he sees things that are selfish and not there for the team, Coach Podine certainly doesn't tolerate those things. It's always the team first and the individual second. And I think that's a clear message that he'll have for the boys, continue to have for the boys. Tomorrow, being that there's a game Saturday, I agree with Bissy that probably what's going to happen, he's going to have a nice chat with the boys about some of the things and about bringing that effort and attitude every day. But then he's going to go out and he'll probably have a pretty quick pace practice, a lot of tic-tac passing, work on the power play a little bit, just because they come right back tomorrow on Saturday and they got another game.
Yep, and just wanted to throw a shout out to Orioles' next home game Tuesday night against the Sago Lake Wildcats. Make the trek down 35. Game time here is at 7 o'clock. Make your way over. Go to that gopark.org website if you want to get schedules, follow the boys and girls basketball team or the girls hockey team. And guys, I just wanted to throw a shout out, if whether you're a Cooper fan or a Park fan, if you do want to get a copy of tonight's game or watch replays times, Paul's going to put the information up. Go to ParkTV.org. Those of you who don't have cable, or you sit there and you say, oh, I wish I could watch these games. I can't tell you how many people tell me that. Oh, how do you watch those games? And there are people that I see at the rink all the time. You know what? Just because you don't have cable, go to ParkTV.org, or tell your friends who don't have cable, go to that website and then watch it off there and buy the DVDs you want. So
absolutely,
I'm a little bit up on my horse, but I get asked that question.
That's the only way I watch them.
Yeah, exactly, right, and that's fine.
Or else you got to wait 4 hours for the next game to come back on.
Yeah, don't take this the wrong way, Paul, down the truck, but we think Comcast has made plenty of money, so we love their support. But on behalf of John Fromm, and just wanted to thank John Basil and our crew with Paul Broden and Misty, and our new intern, who I'm sorry, but I forgot your name. Kelly, that's right. We'll see you real soon here on Park 16 Sports. Good night from the Rec Center.